Cool.
Alrighty. We all good to go here, boyos?
Yes.
I will be in tabletop as soon as I am done updating it. It's almost done though. It's like
Oh, tabletop's updating now.
80% done. Or
I'm gonna start a
75.
score on my whiteboard for you and Ashley for technical difficulties.
you're
Yeah,
gonna have
great.
a long checklist. You're gonna have a huge tally.
It's gonna be neck and neck.
Where has occurred?
Sweet mother of
I need to go
Christ.
back and watch that clip.
Okay,
That was
no,
really funny.
we're good. We're good. It's all good.
Perfect.
It says
Alright.
it's done. I'm
There we
loading it
go,
up
there
now.
we go.
Opening up a can of stuff.
Nice. Welcome back, everyone, to another game of Skyfall 5e. How was the week?
Excellent.
Not bad.
Great.
Great.
Good,
I
good.
installed 140 or 44 light switches in 2 days.
So exciting.
I thought you were gonna say 144 megabytes of RAM. I don't know
No.
why. I thought it was gonna be like a
That computer's
download
a
more
piece of
RAM
shit.
joke. Okay, alright. Well, we're all here. It's good to have you guys back. And we got another session before the week off here, so let's see what kind of crazy bullshit you guys get up to. On your last... Someone cries in the distance. On your last session, you guys did a whole bunch of stuff in town, and perhaps the craziest of which was you became the first group to actually get a hold of the Sovereign Stone. Finding the dwarves once again, you guys did some trades, impressed them by being drunk in the middle of the day, and before you know it, great wealth has come to you. However, your savings were liquidated after a time lapse, realizing all sorts of crazy stuff that had happened. A guard captain that you spoke with the day previous, after the time lapse, ended up dead. And soon the investigation as to what happened to him and a note that he sent off was kind of put onto your shoulders. The new guard captain, Armin, has mentioned that he can't exactly join you guys alongside for this sort of thing, and for understandable reasons. But he has helped you out and gotten you a teleportation scroll to make your way all the way over to Soulsland. So, the last thing that's happened, you liquidated your bank account, made a couple of purchases, hopped through the portal, and as you come through on the other side, you guys find yourselves in a large, spacious room filled with red-robed figures wandering about. What do you guys want to do?
Cord connected to my phone.
Excuse me.
One of the wizards walks over to you, and given that you've lived here before, you're very familiar with the outfit that this guy has on you, and if you had to guess, you're near or within the actual Eldritch Tower, the centerpiece building of Soulsland. Man stepping up towards you gives you a nod and says, "What can I help you with?"
We've been sent on fairly urgent business from Oris Ren regarding a rune or a sigil in particular. We sent word but didn't hear anything back from the couriers, so we decided to come directly.
Fair enough. Do you need assistance? Is it your first time in Soulsland?
It's
It's my
the-
first time.
Yes, and we're unfamiliar with the Eldritch Tower in particular, so any help would be great.
That door right there will take you to the outside garden, and past that, it's just a ways to the gate and you'll be in the city proper.
For the research of the rune itself, my understanding is Oris Ren had a reliable contact within Soulsland. Would that person be found in the tower itself?
Perhaps. There are connections between us, though who exactly this was sent to, I don't know. There's no single position that comes to mind. If you wish, I can arrange a meeting for you and one of our mages, if you wish to speak about a symbol.
Do you have anyone who specializes in, like, ancient magics?
There's likely somebody. Somebody whose field is centered around stuff that has come and gone. Is that what you're looking for?
I think that would be our best option.
Sure, I'm not busy. I can take you to the desk.
Well, excellent. Lead the way, please.
The figure nods, his face mostly obscured by the hood that hangs over there, but you can tell he's probably a human male, maybe middle-aged, and he starts to wander over. Instead of going to the door he pointed out, he passes into another one, and this leads into a sort of large room here with a bunch of different tables, and you can see people rapidly going through papers and things like that. There are spectral hands moving, quills back and forth, and like books that seem to move from one table to the next almost as if on their own. And he walks up towards one which doesn't have anybody at it and leans over and he says, is there any researchers available right now? I have a client here who's looking to speak with somebody who specializes in old magic. And the guy behind the table kind of, starts messing with some papers there and looking a few things over, and eventually turns back to you. And I'd like somebody to make a luck roll, please.
Looks like it's Steve.
Fuck.
You're not in here, are you?
Nope.
He's
You want me to roll it for you?
Yeah. What the hell is...
Look, Steve,
I
it's
hate stupid children. Sorry.
Okay.
They're making stupid noises out of my window, and it's annoying. Sorry.
Am I rolling this or am I waiting? It's
Yeah,
a 25 megabyte update. I don't know how long it should take. Although
It's halfway.
Ooh.
But my thing, my computer likes to bone me, so randomly I could just restart and say fuck you, and then say,
So yeah, you're rolling it.
until next week. So yeah, you're rolling it, man.
your city has dial-up, right?
Well, you
Did
until I
you
get there.
install Windows on a floppy disk? Like what happened?
Probably. I don't know. It came with Windows.
It's Raspberry Pi.
Oh!
Oh.
It was almost a 4, but it's a 19.
The guy looking over the papers turns up and faces you all, and he says, I have a few, actually. There is a fee for consultation. I trust that you have money.
We do. How much would that be?
For the initial talk, it is only 10 gold. But past that, depending on what research you might need, or anything that you might be looking to acquire, ingredients, that sort of thing, then the price will go up, of course.
I'll look to Tidge and then look back to the mage. Tidge, my understanding, maybe I'm misremembering, but didn't Armin say that the courier intercepted on his way to Soulsland or on his way back? Are we unsure?
He said that he never arrived in the first place.
Sir, we did send someone ahead, and this piece of business is sensitive, and there's possibly someone who's not keen on us finding information about this subject. So it's possible that word has been sent, or the courier might have been intercepted on his way. Could we see if there was maybe a record on behalf of a guard captain Skylar from Ors Ren for a request?
The guy who's led you to the table here kind of gives a reaffirming nod to the one who's seated down on the other side, and he starts to kind of turn over towards one of the nearby tables, and he calls out to one of the others, and you watch as papers kind of exchange from the different tables, and when they land over there, he starts to kind of comb through them, and at some point he pauses, and he has a stack of papers in his hand, and then he puts them back down on the table. But unlike when he normally puts them down, he flips the pages over so they're facing downwards, so you can't see what's on the parchment. And he looks at you all and he says, I'm sorry, it appears there was something that was to be sent by Skylar, but it is confidential. And I cannot say any more, unfortunately.
Can I channel divinity persuasion here, real quick?
Sure.
I'll look to the man. Sir, unfortunately, we are, as your colleague here can confirm, we just came through the teleportation from Ors Ren here on behalf of Guard Captain Armin. I say Armin because Skylar has died. we would not have spent the exorbitant cost to come here directly if it wasn't urgent. So I understand it's sensitive, but the man who you're protecting is no longer alive, and it's because of that paper.
Roll
Can we see it?
persuasion like a motherfucker, please.
Didn't we have a note from Armin?
We had a note for the teleportation circle,
Yeah.
but he didn't give
Oh,
us
okay.
anything more than that. Oh, 21, 26.
26. He pauses for a second, and you can tell he's thinking it over, and something solemn kind of comes over him as he then turns the pages back up and looks at them, and he says, "It seems that Skylar was sending something here. There's a courier listed, and an estimated time that the item would arrive. It's listed as being a symbol whose shape couldn't be conveyed over the sending message. However, this is dated. According to what's written here, it should have shown up, even if it was late."
Well, we have that symbol now. And whoever of those available in Old Magic, whoever you think might be the most proficient in dealing with such a matter, we would have that person, male or female, and only show the symbol to them. Like I said, the only two people we've shown it to, that courier and that guard captain, are now dead, so we'd prefer limiting it.
Well, if it's sensitive and dangerous magic, the fee may not simply be 10 gold, but I might recommend a different course of action. It seems that this was destined for somebody specific, and if you wanted, you could simply bring the symbol to them. They are, after all, waiting for it.
I'll look
I'm not
to Tidge
certain.
and the rest of the group.
It seems as though you're acting in Skylar's interests, and I would hate to get in the way of the will of a past friend, but it is written here on the paper that it was meant for somebody in particular.
Then we'll respect Skylar's wishes, right, Tidge? I think
Indeed.
that's fair.
I think that's. I mean, he had to be sending it to him for a reason, so.
And I'll look to the guy behind the desk there, and I'm sure you might be more comfortable if we proceeded with Skylar's wishes to begin with, rather than going to anyone else on this matter. So, if you can direct us to that person, we could certainly start the research.
He nods to you, and then writes a couple things down onto a little piece of paper and hands it to the guy who's standing with you by the table there. And you see he looks at it and goes, "Okay, it's down this way."
Thank you.
Now you guys are led off, and you pass through a couple of interesting areas. The tower, as it's called, has occasional portals to the outside, windows through which you can see the city. And as you move from one door to the next, you can tell that your position in the tower seems to change almost at random. You pass from one hallway into the next and you're on the 10th floor, and then you go into another door and you're on the 1st floor. And then, it's all over the place. But eventually, when you get to your end destination there, you end up standing in some sort of hallway, or sorry, like a large circular room that has a bunch of doors around the back wall, and it looks like a laboratory of some kind. And the man hands over the little piece of paper to you, points to one of the doors, and says, "Good luck."
Thank you for your help.
It's no problem. If you need any help getting out, I'm sure that you'll find an attendant on your way.
Could you provide one more small piece of information? Who is it that we're going to see right now?
Who isn't 2-B? He pauses for a second, and he says, "Oh, it's the old man. God, I always miss his name. But he used to teach some of my classes. A prestigious figure. I can't remember exactly who he is, though. There's a lot of people who work here."
All right. Well, certainly won't be going in and calling him the old man, but that's all right. Thank you for leading us this far.
Perhaps a wise choice.
And is the door open, or is it just an entryway, or
It is
is it a
not.
closed door? Okay, I'll knock on the door then.
You hear a voice. Come in, come in.
I will enter.
I'll follow Tidge.
Good day, sir.
1, 2. He looks over at you guys, and as he turns, it looks like he's seated in some position there by his desk, as though he's on an invisible chair, which seems to swivel perfectly around as he looks at you all. And he kind of pulls down a monocle, staring at you, and then kind of turns back and rotates towards his table, where he must be working on something. The entirety of the room is very eclectic. You see what looks like a big sort of broken mirror in one end of the room, and then you see what looks like a half of a statue, and then what looks like some of an alchemist set. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. Some of these look like artifacts, others look like tools, but there's stuff all over the place. It's quite disorganized. After turning around and kind of, counting in his head how many of you guys there are, he turns back, and while plodding away at the table, he calls and says, "Well, why have you come to speak with me?"
We come on business of Skylar from Oris Wren.
"Oh, yes. Yes.
He had sent a courier with a strange rune that's particular meaning and purpose has, for the most part, eluded us. And our hopes were that you would be able to help us shed a little more light on it."
Well, if it's for an old friend, why don't you bring that over here then? I'll take a look at it.
I will, but I must warn you, those who see this rune seem to, the past two folks that we have shown it to, Skylar included, have both met foul ends, I'm sorry to admit.
He continues tinkering and he doesn't really seem to be bothered by it. He doesn't even turn to face you, and he says, "Does it kill magically, or?"
It seems that there's a force out there that doesn't want anyone to know much about this.
"Oh, that's fine, bring it here."
Okay. I'll sketch it out on a little piece of paper and I'll hand it to him.
Okay.
This is what we're looking to find.
When you walk up to this guy and hand the thing to him, it looks like he's working with miniatures on his desk or something. And he momentarily turns over and takes it and goes, "Let's see what Skylar has today. I would like somebody to roll luck, please."
Connor, you've been rolling so well.
Said nobody ever.
He was last session. He was killing it.
Yeah, it's true.
Not bad. It could have been in that one.
It's like a 700% improvement on the average Connor roll.
Filthy Sloot die.
Okay. He turns to you and hands the thing, and he says, "Oh, it's very old. So Skylar wants to know about this then, does he?"
I kind of nudge Tidge and give him a little frown, and then look to the mage, like a tell him gesture.
Mm-hmm. He did. But unfortunately, Skylar was one of those that we showed the rune to. And he has since perished about a month back.
Did he? Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame.
Love how little he cares.
While this is going on, what kind of things are in this room? Taking a look around.
You see what looks like half of an Easter Island head, a mirror that's broken that has, magical sparks flying off of it. There's a bunch of alchemy equipment there. You see what looks like a perfectly circular orb that has, two small dragon creatures inside of it trying to kill each other. It's just all sorts of weird stuff.
Can I ritual cast Detect Magic while they're talking?
Oh, sure.
I I just want to like see stuff around.
The room's gonna explode, motherfucker.
Yeah, my eyes are gonna be like.
He says, "Well, it's an old spell rune. Do you see? Do you practice the arts at all?"
I do.
Well, you know that some magic has a written portion to it, and spell books and all that. It is just one of the letters, but it's not used for anything currently.
Do you know, or might you be able to give us any insight on? I know that it's a ritual of binding, but
Well, that's one spell. To be truthful, there are a few that have been found with this involved, though most of those are fragmentary.
this one in particular is tied to an ancient book that I'm looking to discover.
Yes, no current books would have such a thing. Well, unlikely, at least.
Do you know if this would have any connection to, or have you ever heard of the librarian?
Yes, yes, I
Bit
have.
of a rogue angel.
I'm familiar.
Well, we've been exploring some of his older crypts, or shrines, perhaps would be a better term. And there's someone going through and torching them. And it seems that everywhere we go, we're always a few steps behind whoever's doing this.
And this has what to do with the symbol?
This symbol was found in the first shrine that we entered. It was scrawled into the skulls of reanimated cultists, or worshippers, I should say.
Wasn't it in the second one as well?
Was it? I don't remember.
In the... No. I'm sorry.
Unless it was like carved
when-
into his armor.
When we scryed, well, when we were getting scryed on, I used identify on the
orb.
The orb. I saw the symbol there as well.
Keelik, didn't you see the symbol? Or are you saying that right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you mind perhaps describing the individual that you saw, Keelik?
Oh, it was a pretty harrowing experience, to be honest. Almost killed me. Like I said, I identified this orb, that this mage, this magician, I'm not sure. He's using it to scry on us, and there's a darker skinned gentleman with a bald head.
Interesting.
Very dark skin. That's all I remember, to be honest.
Perhaps demonic influence, or too much sunlight. Well,
It's interesting that you say demonic influence, because in both of these shrines that we visited, there's been a guardian, I'll say for lack of a better word, buried in the sanctum that, well, Calyx here has heard him speaking in Infernal.
And it's also this very rune that kept them bound to this earth and alive, if you can use that word.
interesting. Let me see if I have some old notes. Might have something on that.
Lucian, tell me this guy's like level 20 wizard.
He kind of wanders over and steps up to a portion of the wall, and his hand reaches past the stone somehow, and he pulls out a book and he kind of like wanders back to his desk and pushes some of the miniatures out of the way. You see like little figurines there that he kind of bundles up on one side of the table, puts the book down, and starts to peruse through the thing. And while he's going along, he at some point goes, "Oh, see, look, there it is right there." And he shows you what looks like a portion of a spell that's been written down. You're given a look into a wizard's spell book. And normally it's kind of an intimate thing. They all kind of have their own shorthand and whatnot. But there it is. You see the symbol scrawled out in a spell. But you notice that the spell isn't complete. And he says, "These were recovered from a few different places. I have a couple more pages of these. I'd like to collect old unfinished works. It's a fun thing to do in my off time."
You say it's unfinished. What would happen if it was finished?
Well, that's tough to say. With this spell, you can tell it's necromancy. Well, with all of them whose schools can be confirmed, it's always necromancy. The symbol seems to be used almost exclusively for such spells. A good number of these were recovered from, Oh. He pauses for a second and just looks at you like in an aha moment, and his old visage, which only has, like these murmuring, dried up, wrinkly lips that move on occasion, kind of suddenly comes alight, almost like a sunbeam hits him, and he looks down at you and he says, "I think I know who it is you're looking for."
Well, that is excellent news.
Some of these pages were recovered from something a bit more recent. A few years back, there was a mad mage from a nearby town who, well, I don't remember exactly what happened to him, but his works were all bundled up and thrown away, and some of them managed to get into my care. I purchased them up for a penny. He does fit your description. Dark skin, a deep brown, no hair at all.
That sounds like our guy.
Yes.
Is there any way that, or could you tell us who that might be?
Let's see if I have the receipts. He starts making his way out of his chair and wanders over to the wall again. I'd like somebody to roll luck, please. If it's an 11 or higher, he has the receipt.
Oh, no.
It's gonna be an 11.
Oh!
I love the big die because it always teases you with which number it's gonna land on. He pulls out a piece of paper and he walks over and sits down and he goes, one Ajun Takat.
Ajun?
Yes, here.
Takat.
He shows you the piece of paper, and I'll write it for you.
Damn, one letter off.
He always gets ya.
Is this individual still alive, or did he just disappear out of thin air? I mean, it would appear that he's still.
Well, let's see what the records have to say. This lot was put up for sale because he was, let's see, expelled from one of the necro halls in Seba. Doesn't say anything about killed. I don't know. Maybe there were charges. I don't know if they'd write that on a receipt, though.
Probably not. Now, it almost seems to me like, from what you're telling me, we might be chasing after an old spell book. Does that seem way off base to you, if you don't mind me asking?
Certainly a possibility.
Would you know of any ancient tomes that would otherwise contain this? Like that, maybe perhaps the complete spell? We've been told that, or I've been informed that this particular rune can be found in the ruins of Woj.
I assume there must be some older things you could get your hands on. They'd have to be magically preserved, though, mind you. Most of the places where this shows up is scrawled on stone, and no parchment would survive from back then, obviously.
Of course.
There are runes far to the south, where I've heard mention of some of these coming from there. But there are other places as well in the world. It's tough to keep track of it all.
So, how many runes has he showed us? Or how many runes did he have?
He showed you like an incomplete spell where, you know, this symbol was probably like, you know, 1 of 5 that was on the page, and then another one where it was like 1 of 7 or something. You, as a magic practitioner, would be familiar with a lot of the ones that are shown there, where it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, we still use those today in a lot of our modern spells. Also, in the middle of the room there, your spell goes off, and when it does so, Kalik, you are just assaulted by, like, you know, 100 magical sources are near you all the time. You can't even, like, you're like, yeah, there's magic in this room, but you can't even really pinpoint where any of it is, because it all just hits you. Like, there's 100 blips on the radar that pop up at once.
I want to look at the old guy. Like, how much is coming off him?
There's a lot.
Okay. Can I tell, like, the biggest school?
In the area right now?
Or from him?
Oh, from him. Yeah, make an Arcana roll. Maybe you can sift through all the noise.
Nat 20.
Ooh. Now it's tough to tell because this could be maybe magical items on his person or anything like that. But there is a sort of overarching school that emanates from him. And give me 2 seconds here. You sense a strong transmutation energy that comes from him. Amongst all the other schools all hitting you at once. Now, as he looks over, he turns down towards you there, Titch, and says, I hope I was able to help you with some of this.
You were. There's certainly more information than I've had before.
Well,
if we... Pardon to interrupt.
Ask.
If we were to go to Seba, sounds like they specialize more in necromancy.
Mm-hmm.
Would we be able to find more information there, since it seems your school is more transmutation?
Ah, good eye. He kind of gives you a nod there, and he says,
A little pre-com leaks out of
yes, it's an old tradition there. They've always been enamored with the magics surrounding the dead. It might be a good idea to travel there, speak with some of them. They probably have more records on this man than I.
Anyone you'd suggest?
Oh, I do have some friends over there. Oh, let's see. What was his name again? I'm gonna roll intelligence for this old man.
Can I...
There's a
Can I cast Enhance Ability on him to help him remember?
Is that a touch or a range spell?
That is... That's a touch.
I thought you were falling.
a friendly touch on his shoulder.
Do you want to go over and give him a tap?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You walk over and give him a tap there, and he goes,
We really need you to remember.
"Oh yes, thank you. His name was Barjarger, I think. Yes, Barjarger. He's one of the more senior magisters back at the Necro Halls. If you ask for him, they'll probably know who he is if he ever leaves his study these days. Powerful man, though, and he's not quite as nice as I am, unless you got him in the right mood.
What makes you say that?
Well, Barjarger, he's old, but he's older than I am. The first time he went was back in, what was it? I think it was 10:30, 37, or was it 8? It was the first time he passed, and since then, I think he was resurrected again in 140. Was it one? He looks over at the wall and then turns to you with a smile. And you get the feeling that he's forgotten what you asked him.
I forgot what you asked.
How much would you say that you know about the librarian?
I continue concentrating on enhanced ability.
I know he collects a lot of texts, safekeeping mostly. Librarian's almost a mistake of a name. It's more like a guardian for old texts.
Unfortunately, his strength seems to be waning of late.
Well, that's
Do you know?
unfortunate.
It is, for sure. Do you know, by chance, if he had any enemies? Particularly ones that might be of demonic nature with a tendency towards fire?
Oh, hundreds. Easily.
Oh,
There must be. The librarian is special because his essence is passed from one librarian to the next, so sometimes the enemies die with time, but old grudges can carry past even as the personality changes.
indeed. Tell me, I was led to believe that traveling to... traveling to Woj was a bit of a dead end. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of information on this tome that I'm seeking out. All I know is that it's of incredible power, and I'll be honest with you, the librarian is the one who sent me on this mission. He's the one who seeks it out.
It certainly sounds like someone's taken it.
Yes, it would seem that way.
You should find
Unfortunately,
that person.
well, I suppose I probably should.
Was there any more questions?
Right, I have a question.
Yes, miss.
Your friend in Siba, is there any way we could get a sort of piece of paper stating that you're the one who sent us, so he is more keen on seeing us?
Oh. Yeah, sure. You're just asking him about the symbol. Nothing nefarious, right?
I would hope so.
Good. Sure, I can write you up something. And he starts scrawling down on a piece of paper. And after a bit, he turns over there and kind of lets go of the thing with his fingers, and it flaps over like the two halves of the paper, like a butterfly. It makes its way over to your hand there, Annie.
She's like, oh my god, this is so cool. Thank you.
It's no problem. Was there anything else I can help you find folks with?
Perhaps, I mean, if you might know, perhaps it's a lost cause, but would you by chance know of any other temples of the librarian? We've been to one near the that was previously referred to as the Temple of Despair, over near
Mountain range of Lord Bane Cabal.
in the mountain range of Lord Bane Cabal, and also one in the mountains of Markan.
Lord Bane! Oh, goodness. Sorry,
It's alright. Would you happen to know of any shrines to the librarian?
Shrines to the librarian. There's well, he keeps them hidden, and, well, I would ask one of his followers. They'd probably know.
I suppose they probably would.
Lord Bane!
I think that exhausts all the questions I have.
I may have one. I'll take out the leather pouch containing the crystal ball fragments.
Oh, okay.
The crystal ball we had chatted before that Ajun Dakat had been scrying on us with. If I mend it, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about him? Or I'm not sure. I'm not very familiar.
Oh, that looks pretty badly beaten up. I don't know if you could just mend that.
I'll start mending it.
You can't.
Oh, well. It's gonna take a bit.
Tidge, come here.
Yes,
Come here, help me out a little bit.
of course. I'll help them out.
Okay.
A bit.
You guys mend repeatedly, and the man, turns back to his little miniatures there. And when you guys are finished, what do? You have a crystal ball in your hand.
I'll hand it out towards the old man.
Oh, this is a nice crystal ball.
Anything special about it, or?
He puts it down on the table, holds his hands above it for a moment, and a flash of light and a burst of colors and a brief warbling of the table, almost like there's a ripple that goes through the wood, just as easily as a rock on a pond's surface would send out ripples. And all the miniatures kind of get pushed to the side, and the book warbles. And he goes, "Oh, yes. It's an item of great evil."
I look at Kayla kind of nervously.
I look back at Edgar. I'm just like, I don't know.
I told you one of the shrines that we were in, actually both of them had agents of some demonic patron.
Yes,
And
yes.
the second one we fought was an animated suit of armor.
Okay.
And when he was defeated, he turned into that ball.
That would make sense. This
But
is a reagent for a summoning spell.
why would I have
Expensive
seen Ajun Dakat through the ball?
one. He's probably watching you.
Would he have summoned the thing though?
It's possible. Do you mind? And you see what looks like a like a brick on the ground kind of rumbles and then pops out of the ground right beside his desk. And then the brick kind of like flops over, like chunk, 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 as it comes closer to the desk, and then seemingly flattens out, and you watch as its consistency goes to that of like a solid brick to putty, and it forms a small waste bin by the side of his table. And he says, do you need this?
Shake my head.
How much is it worth? You said it was expensive.
Well, in the city of Brass, you could probably get a pretty penny for it. Maybe 200 gold, or whatever it is demon eyes go for these days.
Demon what?
Demon eyes. It's
an eye.
It's a demon's, yeah, it's a demon's eye. Do you mind if I throw it out?
It seems
Do you
like
mind
a
if we-
shame
Please.
to throw away 200 gold.
Please throw it out.
200 gold in the abyss. Or, excuse me, the plane of fire.
It's an item of great evil.
Throw it away.
Well, he kind of like holds the thing out for you guys to take it.
I'm
Aye.
not taking it.
Or did you want it, sir?
Oh, they're in my trash can.
Oh, sure.
I'll take it. Sorry, but
He like motions it to you guys, and then like he's about to put it back, and then Kayla comes over and he gives it to you.
I'll just put a cloth over it, wrap it up, put it back into the pouch. It's it's a
throw-
lead.
Kalik, throw that out.
I'll set it on the ground, and I'll ask Arillo to smash it again.
Wait. Sir, is your trash can... Sorry, I'm woefully ignorant of these matters. Is it magically protected? If we throw it in there, will it disappear? Do we need to destroy it beforehand?
Oh, you could just throw it in the trash.
Okay. Kalik, do you want to throw the demon eye into the trash?
But what happens to it?
Oh, well, it stays where it belongs. In the trash.
Us.
We can smash it for now, like we had done before, and if we need it for a lead, we'll have it.
Look, what if that's the source of the scry?
That was what I was thinking.
I know
Perhaps.
our understanding of this, your understanding of the scry, because I understand none of it, is that once they see us, they can scry through it. But I have to think, what if it's a different form of scry, or something specific to those crystal shards? I mean, it's not a simple scry. We all feel the influence around us. Feels like something's creeping at the back of my neck. I'd rather just have it away.
How many times have you been scryed upon?
A few,
Twice
three?
now. I
At least
believe.
three.
Three
Has it been
times.
three?
So you
I believe
always
so.
have the demon eye on you when it happens.
It's with us, but the last time we were all together, and I had moved away. We were sitting at a table, and I had moved quite a distance away.
Well,
It seemed as though it followed me.
But to answer your question, yes, it first started in a library when the orb was whole. And if this entity attacked Kalik through the orb when he touched it,
Oh, interesting. It's just like a familiar or something.
maybe. Again, I'm pretty ignorant of these matters, but
Oh, well,
the
you
next
see,
two times we
wizards,
have...
can sometimes summon up beings from another plane, and well, they take the forms of small creatures, but in actuality, they're nothing that you would see normally, and they can be used as a conduit for magic. It's possible that this is a conduit.
Oh. So Are you saying possibly instead of a scry that it's an invisible familiar that's watching us?
Perhaps. There's certainly a great deal of evil on it.
Well, I looked at Kalik. Kalik, if he's saying it's possibly a conduit, let's get rid of it.
Look at the pouch. Well, I pick up the pouch from the ground, look at it, look at Edgar, and then I just toss it in the trash.
Oh, that a boy.
I toss a bead of sweat off my brow, like.
You've made a good choice. Let me tell you, plenty of my peers back in my day couldn't keep up with old man Zurich. Years they'd go by and they'd surpass me in studies, and then one of them would be swallowed up by some sort of evil backfire. It's simply not worth it. Unless you're playing the short game. If you're trying to get somewhere far, and the consequences be damned, then help yourself to the trash. But if you're trying to live a wholesome life, if you're trying to,
Did you say that your name was Zurich?
Yes.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Zurich. My name is Tidge.
Yes, I don't believe we've met. It's good to meet you, Tidge.
Thank you.
Can I? Sorry. While you're talking, can I look inside the trash can?
Sure. The trash can appears to be empty. And as you look inside of it, it collapses on itself, turns into a brick, flips over a few times, and then sockets itself back into the floor.
That might be the coolest trash can I've ever seen.
That's pretty fantastic. Let's see.
Would you, like one? I sell these.
How, it might be out of my budget. How much are they?
There's 100 gold. Now, if you are buying one of these, you have to keep it on the sly. I'm not exactly supposed to be pushing these. Wizards in the tower want a tax, but I say 152. I've paid my taxes. Not gonna get a damn penny out of me, sons of bitches.
I tell you what, if we need one in the future, we know where to find you, and I'll give him a wink.
Yeah, certainly.
Kalik, just an idea, but we spent a boatload of money on scrying amulets that we may not have needed. Because it's a familiar, maybe instead of a scry. Do you want to offload them to this gentleman and maybe get your magic garbage can?
I don't know about you, but I'd feel a lot more comfortable keeping this.
While you guys are talking, he's just, like, putting the miniatures around and stuff.
Wait, was the orb, was that on Tidge when he walked away?
No.
No, it's like Table Talk. I think what happened is, what his description of it is, the orb served as a conduit, so the guy can summon a familiar near us, and then whether or not the orb was on us, at that point the familiar is in the room and he's able to follow us for X amount of time and then disappears. That's what he thinks is a possibility. It could still be a scry, but it makes a lot of sense if it's the other thing too.
Well, you speak of familiars, and you appear to be. Do you have perhaps the components required to summon one of your own familiars for sale here?
I'd like to keep one at any time. But you can't have one of my familiars.
Oh, I don't need one of your familiars. I simply need the components to summon one of my own.
Yes.
I might be interested in those components as well.
Probably have something laying about.
He pulls out the different herbs and charcoal and all that you need, and he tells you it's 10 gold for each of them. If you guys want to buy the stuff for familiar.
For each item?
It's 10 gold that's consumed to summon up the familiar.
Okay.
And once the familiar's summoned, you can, like, banish it
Yeah.
and resummon it without having to pay it. But if it actually dies, then you have to refund the cost. Yeah.
I was wondering if I'm paying him 30 gold right now, or if it's just 10.
It's 10 for you to get enough for one spell.
Gotcha.
I'll put down 10.
Sure.
10 gold.
I will as well.
Okay.
Do you by chance have a brass brazier that we could burn these in?
Of course. And he hands some sort of ceremonial brass brazier that he keeps around the room. It floats over from another table nearby. Sits down on the floor.
Whoops. What's wrong? Okay. I assume that this is not for sale.
The
Or
brass. No, you can take it. That's fine.
oh, can I
Yes.
take it?
I formed it from an old shoe.
I wish I was around to see that.
Oh, do you have an extra shoe?
Sadly, I don't believe I do.
Oh, sure.
Well, thank you. I believe all my questions that I can come up with now have been answered. The gentleman we were speaking with earlier mentioned a payment for the initial consultation, as you will.
Oh, yes, yes.
Here is, he said 10 gold. So, here you are.
Oh, is this a tip? Why, thank you.
You're welcome. You've been quite enlightening.
That's good. I'm glad I could help you out. If you need anything else, I'll be here.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to meet you, Zurg.
And you too,
Tidge.
Tidge.
Or Tom Jack, if you like.
It's a pleasure, Jack.
I've been called worse. A pleasure indeed.
Well, you, good luck on your travels, and, speaking with my old friend and, the temples and... Yes, and he kind of just, like, turns back to his table.
Well,
Are we buying the garbage can?
no. I'm not anyways.
Do you have 100 gold on you, Annie?
Unless... Unless the stuff in the trash doesn't go away, and we can use it as an extra dimensional pouch.
A portal to a different little pocket dimension?
Yeah.
I mean, he's right here, we could ask him.
Go for it.
Zurg, if you don't mind me asking,
Who's that?
Randall, from before.
Yes,
it's
I
anyway.
remember you.
Yes, I'm sure. Your trash can, the one we keep on the hush hush.
Oh, he
Is
leans
that
forward
right?
towards you. You're looking to get one of my famous trash cans.
At least some information on it. Does it create a pocket dimension?
I can't tell you the secrets of the trash can.
I don't need to know how to make it. I just need to know what it does. Does it just destroy items,
It's
or does it?
It puts them in the trash.
Can they
More
be
do you
hacks?
need to know?
There's very few who reach the level of mastery that I have to create such a thing. I
Trash master.
cannot exactly just tell you the secrets of how my magical trash can works.
If one were to throw a paper into the trash can,
Yes.
would one be able to then receive it? Like,
Retrieve
would I be
it.
able to pull it back out of the trash if I needed it?
No, of course not. It'd be in the trash. That's the whole point of a trash can. Why would you go fishing around in the trash?
the two smartest player characters.
I just look at Ted and I shake my head.
I'll just shrug my shoulders.
Are you one of them dumpster divers?
You can find some.
Some marvelous treasures.
My
Dumpsters.
goodness. Yeah.
Some lost knowledge in the trash.
Perhaps, but not in my special trash, though.
Well, that's good to know.
So, how many of them do you need?
None for now, but we may be
Would
back
you like
later.
a demonstration, perhaps? Maybe change your mind?
I look at Edgar.
Why not?
I'm looking out into space right now. I'm tuned out.
Perhaps we don't have the adequate appreciation for this.
Behold. He gets up and waddles over. I'll get you a fresh one. And he reaches through the wall again and pulls out what looks like just a basic red brick. And he comes over and he puts it down on the table and says, trash can. And the thing flips over a couple times and then morphs into a little trash can. It says, give me a piece of something you don't need.
I give him the robes.
The robes?
She took a thing of old tattered robes as well.
Ah. Yes. Old, like this? And you see his like skinny old man arms reach up and he just throws the thing in there. And then it's in the trash. The lid closes on it. And now you're wondering,
Could Tidge fit in that trash can?
what if this isn't as premium a trash can as it looks? But I've solved that problem. Now, watch closely. He leans the trash can in your group's direction, and then, like a chef revealing his signature dish, pulls the lid off, and you see but an empty trash can. Ta-da! It is gone. In the trash forever. You'll never have to see that old shoe again.
Right, but where does it go?
To the trash.
Is there like some extra dimensional trash heap? A dump?
Yes, so to speak.
Is it floating in the abyss? Just a bunch of trash?
It goes to the trash, Gaelic.
You're becoming very close to the trade secret I can't exactly give you. But you're onto something. It does involve magics.
You're very wise
Thank
and
you.
strong.
The trash can folds up and turns into a brick. It flips back a couple of times, and the man picks it up. Shaking it
What
at
if-
your group like a large protein bar, he says, so...
What
What do
if
you
we
think?
need more of a dumpster? A larger trash receptacle? Not just a can.
Can we put people in there?
Now, it's a strong call to call somebody trash. I'm not sure I'm comfortable selling to you one of my larger models.
Do you have anything where you can recall, not necessarily for trash, but place something in and then you could retrieve it later?
There's a fantastical item known as a bag of holding. I think that's what you're searching for.
Perhaps it is.
This is more like a can of trashing.
Well, I think we've taken up enough of your time, unless, Gaelic, you're really interested in that.
No.
I only have one question.
Yes.
Not about the well, I do have one question about the trash can. Say if you were to get your hand stuck in there and it turned into a brick, would your hand be gone?
There's a safety feature involved. Until the lid is firmly closed, You can still retrieve your arm from the trash can.
That's good.
In case you've mistaken something for trash when it's actually valuable.
Okay. But on to my main question. Have you ever heard of a temple, like a desert temple or an ice temple, in
Yes.
the near areas? I've been searching for them and have not come across one since I was a boy.
Well, the
Well,
desert
since I was
temples
a baby
are
Goliath.
tough to find. They disappear into the sands and come and go. But the ice temple, you're searching for the winter's heart. It's far up north.
The Winter's Heart.
Exactly.
I'll have to keep that one in mind.
Yes, it's quite famous. There's not many pilgrims that travel there. It's quite dangerous, mind you.
Is that temple one that my friend here has a certain special ability where he can summon this aura is perhaps the best thing I can think of around him when he gets rather angry. Is there somewhere where he could further that skill?
I'm not
I summon a
certain.
mean cloud. Mean cloud forms around me.
I'm not certain.
Well, it's worth a try, I guess.
It's more than we had before.
It's true. Do you by any chance have a shovel for the desert ones?
I might have a shovel laying about.
Can you make one out of a shoe?
Do you have an old shoe?
I've got a sandal made of wood and tree bark. I made it when I was a good year old, not 1 year old. I don't remember. It's been a while.
The old man scratches his temple.
Anybody have a spare shoe?
Nope,
I think
still don't
I
have
think we can find a shovel somewhere else.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, mage man.
Yes.
Can I call you Magic Hands?
I suppose.
You seem to have pretty magical hands.
He pauses for a moment and looks at the table and sees the brick there, and then he turns back and says, "Was one of you buying the? Did one of you want
No, I believe we were just leaving.
Oh, okay. Have a good day.
And you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Best,
I'll walk out.
Your group wanders outside of the room, leaving the man behind here to whatever it is he's working on.
Well, that's the second time we've been directed towards the Necro Halls of Seba. So I would say that that's probably our strongest lead. And perhaps I'd say that's our next destination. Talk to this barge gar. Excellent.
Anything, well, anything to get us out of Solsland if we have our lead.
I don't think that there's any more information to be gleaned from here, so...
Well, I think it might be worth shopping around, seeing if there are any items, given that Oris Ren is pretty bare bones when it comes to magic. Maybe it is worth shopping around just a bit and staying a night or two and then heading back.
Are you comfortable with that? I guess you wouldn't have offered if you weren't.
You want to go see
don't-
your family?
No. As long as we don't make a huge splash, I think I'm okay with it.
I'm gonna, nudge Kalik. I was hoping to meet Papa Edgar.
Oh, you don't want to meet Papa.
I start laughing. Yeah, Edgar. I'd like to meet Papa Edgar as well.
Yeah, it's a hard pass on that one.
You'd have to buy the
Maybe
trash
another
can
time.
first.
If he would sell it for 5 silver, then I would have bought it.
Why don't you go back and ask him?
Try and swindle the man. I don't even know what that means. I just heard it. Somebody say it. By the way, Rillo has like the IQ of a duck, so.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you're
pass.
playing that perfectly, by the way.
Yep.
All right.
That was mean to ducks.
No. It's your
Well-
brother. It's your brother. I can't say anything. So mad.
My hands are tied.
All right. So
Well, we can shop around if you want, but I don't. In my experience, magic stuff is rather expensive, and I'm running a little short after the components that I just purchased.
well, keep in
but-
mind they're expensive because you're in a magicless city. When they're abundant, there might be some more bartering to be found. I'm thinking if a scroll with a hut inside of it was interesting to you guys enough so when I looked to Kalek to argue over it for about 15 minutes, there's got to be a scroll here worth a damn.
Well,
Again, something to protect fire, something to provide water if we're going to be in the deserts.
I can provide water easily enough.
Okay.
still, no harm in window shopping, anyways. Might find something that might be of use. This is your
Doing-
hometown.
This water pouch.
Well, I looked or like I double take Aurello and then I just looked back to Tidge and Kaylee. Two things. One, we got a free ride to Solsland. The only reason I'm saying we should look is we might get surprised by the pricing. And two, once we get to Seba, that might be a roller coaster, even though those don't exist. That might be an adventure that doesn't end anytime soon. So figure, hey, we just spend a day or two.
Roller coaster is a term for an unstable mine shaft with
There
a
you
cart
go.
going down it. That's what it is.
So yeah, we can just take advantage of it and head back.
Sure.
But I won't be much help. The Lyle estate is outside of Solsland, so I don't really. I mean, I've been in the city limits before, but I'm not exactly a guide, if you know what I mean.
I'd like somebody to roll luck, please.
We know who that is.
Oh boy. It ends here.
Yeah.
Ah,
Normally, if that was any of us, it would have nudged to the 17, but
Of
no.
course. Okay. The fuck? Oh,
not allowed.
that was strange. So, where are you guys going? What are you doing here? You've just spoken with Old Man Zurich and gotten some info on a couple of things. What's the plan?
Can we find that fellow who helped or brought us to Zurich?
Well, you do see some robed figures wandering left and right.
All right, I'll try and grab one's attention.
Sure.
Excuse me, sir. Or unless it's a woman, then.
Sure.
Excuse
me. This guy steps up to you and goes,
All right.
yes, how can I help you?
We're looking to perhaps do a little shopping at, Could
Hmm.
you point us out to an arcanist who might have some perhaps scrolls or other interesting magical wares for sale?
You'll find plenty of shops outside of the tower.
Any that you might recommend particularly? Perhaps
Hmm.
one for those on a budget.
Ugh. Not really.
Any secondhand stores?
I try some of the smaller shops, but no names come to mind.
Alright, well, if they're easy to find, then I guess we'll see how we fare on our own.
You're not
Thank
from
you.
around here, are you?
Sadly, no.
There are plenty of shops. I can assure you'll have no shortage finding what you're looking for. And if
Well, that's
it's
very good to know.
if it's something too difficult, you can always put in a request with the tower, though our prices tend to be a bit more than what you'll find on the street.
Good to know. Can you point us out?
Ah, of course. I'll lead you on the way out here.
Thank you.
The man goes down a hallway, and then another, up a little staircase, then down a little staircase, through a small room into a large room, and eventually is headed for another door when that door opens, and a red-robed figure steps in front. And the red-robed figure turns to face the other guy and says, "I'll take it from here if you don't mind." And the other red-robed figure just kind of gives a nod, and then steps in a different direction and disappears past a different door. And this new one that steps up comes over to your group. And he says, "Hello."
Hello.
Hello?
Are you here to bring us to an Arcanist shop?
Not exactly. I've come here to make an offer.
What kind of offer?
You, sir. He turns to face you, Edgar, and says,
No.
"There are people that are searching for you."
God damn it. We didn't even say my name.
You're one of the Lyles, I presume.
You're presuming?
I've been instructed to pass on information to the family, should I see you here. There are other agents in the city who are looking. But there's a difference between me and those other agents. I'm willing to look the other way for a small stipend of gold.
I'll walk up to him, and I'll say, "Sir, I believe you have the wrong person," and I'll cast suggestion.
Ooh. What's the DC?
Not that high.
Filling me with confidence here.
It's only like 12.
Okay. What is it?
12.
No, the type. Is it like charisma?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a... Wisdom saving throw.
He passes the spell here, and he says, "I don't believe I've made a mistake. Now I extend this offer to you. I don't know what it is that you're wanted for, but I get the idea that you'd rather not have anybody know."
I'm gonna walk up to him. How tall is this guy?
He's about your height.
I'll walk up to him, I'll kind of square him off, and I'll kind of peek under his hood here so I'm making eye contact.
You say like a 30-year-old man looking at you there. He's like a little bit gruff around the edges, hasn't probably not shaved in a couple of days. He says,
Yeah, scurry back. You're not getting any gold from me. We'll be gone before you can even spread the word.
Fair enough.
I'll turn around. You mind window shopping elsewhere, guys?
He turns and walks through the doorway there.
I don't mind.
Well, no one was really eager to shop here anyways, right? So, to the teleportation circle?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Alright.
You guys
I'll
are
kinda-
currently in an empty hallway with roughly 20 doors.
Shit. Does anyone... Do we...
I'm just
I
gonna
remember
take
which-
my first one. Literally the closest one. I'm gonna open it and just start walking.
That's a good plan.
I'd like somebody to roll luck, please.
I'll point to where we came from. It's the dies on you illusion.
My sound is disabled for tabletop. When you open up the door there, you see what looks like a large room, probably the size of a football field. And on either end, there are two small specks. And you're kind of up in like some sort of rafters, like looking down at the field. And you see what looks like these two little specks, which are actually wizards that are firing spells back and forth at each other. And like huge chunks of stadium dirt are like thrown into the air as a fireball goes off, and then like a streaking bolt of lightning destroys like 4 of the stands in the back there as they shoot back and forth at one another, deflecting spells and causing carnage.
Yeah, I'm gonna close that motherfucker.
I don't think that was the right door to choose.
You close the door, hearing the sound of some sort of like cow-like animal letting out a braying noise.
Edgar, we came from over there.
Yeah, sorry. I'll head back over there and open the door we came from.
You open the door that you had stepped through previously, and you get into a room that has a couple of these red attendants wandering around.
Oh, thank God. Can someone help us? We're a bit lost.
You see 2 of them look over. It's a guy and a gal talking, and the girl calls over saying, "Where are you headed to?"
The teleportation circle to Oris Ren, or Seba, if you have it.
Which do you prefer, Seba?
I'll look over my shoulder as I'm like leaning on the doorknob.
Seba would be preferable.
Certainly. Let me see if I can get you guys over there. And she turns over and finishes up her conversation. It takes a few seconds, and then walks away and starts to lead you guys through some doors.
Edgar, do you know any idea who that gentleman was?
No.
Now, after a couple more doors, you eventually end up in an area that has, it's very similar to where you guys were before. It's a large room with a portal at its center and then a bunch of other doors with people kind of standing by. And she says, this one here is Seba. You'll want to speak with one of the attendants next to the portal, though. I believe the fee is something around 50 gold these days.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. She gives you a nod and starts to wander off.
Per person?
I don't know. Let's ask. Excuse me.
How's it going?
Good. We're looking for a trip to Seba, all 5 of us. What's the cost?
Let's see. These days, what's that go for? Standard 50.
For the party?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I put down 10 gold.
I'll put down 10.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Put down 10.
Do you have 10, Annie?
Yeah, I just don't want to spend it on teleportation.
Okay.
But
What are we gonna do? Walk back to Seba?
You guys hand over the gold, and the guy, counts it out for a second, says, "Alright, you're clear. Keep your hands together on the way through. And, thanks for stopping by Soulsland."
Before I go, we were never here, alright? I'll give him a kind of charming nod.
He shrugs.
I don't think he even knows who we are.
Hey, if that guy was able to recognize me by face alone, I don't want to take any chances.
we get to hold hands.
No.
He said
I believe it's rather crucial.
he keep your hands together, so we better hold hands there.
I position myself so I'm kind of away from Annie.
Miss me with that gay shit.
I stick my hand out towards Edgar. Huh?
Alright. I begrudgingly take it.
Hey!
The 2 fags lock fingers and leap through the portal. And given that we're at the halfway point here, almost at 6:30, I think we'll take our first 5-10 minute break here. and be back in a few as you guys travel over to Seba. This is gonna be fun.
No.
We have to go to the heart of winter.
That's on the. I'm
That's
sorry,
the
buddy,
opposite
but we're
end of it.
traveling in the other direction. We're gonna have to go to the desert one.
Alright, let's go to the desert one.
Just pop
Let's
it
do
into our
magical
GPS
shovel.
real quick.
Just get a magical shovel that turns into an excavator.
You guys have now done probably like the same amount of travel as like the most traveled group, but in the least amount of time.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Just booping back and
We know how to
forth.
travel.
You also know how to spend money.
Hell yeah.
Hey,
Gotta
it's not
spend
fair.
money to make money, motherfucker.
Guys, we used to know how to travel for free via lake.
Oh
That's
yeah,
true.
those were the
Well, no,
days.
Aldrin and Lotho and Verth and
I will be right back.
Don't get an aneurysm.
I can't remember your character's name.
Starts with a V. Bareback.
No, I don't know. I remember Verth.
Yeah,
will
no,
BRB.
mine started with a V too.
I thought yours was like Carrick. Was that your last one? Which one was this?
Gosh. Oh.
Right. No, I did not want to open up Chrome. Was it Varric? No. Son of a bitch.
I'm back.
Lucian, you back? Probably not. Never mind.
Oh, Just me, I guess.
Got a lot of information there.
Yeah. Seems like Seba is the place to be. There he is.
Lucian,
Yes.
I got you some bits.
I saw that. Thank you very much. That's awesome. That
How close are you?
that should push Twitch over the line. So I don't know when they're gonna do it or if they will, but hopefully so. That'd be awesome.
About halfway to my next 1,000.
What do you do? Just like grind commercials?
Like, I mute the browser, like a separate browser,
Mm-hmm.
and I bring up commercials. Like, even when you're offline, I can still watch them.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I watch Critical Role, and I just have ads going.
Gotcha.
It
Well, thanks,
hasn't
man.
flagged me at all, so. Like,
Yeah.
I still get the cooldown occasionally from time to time where it makes you wait a day or whatever.
I think if you're not watching other people's content and stuff, yeah, they must have some sort of thing that flags you, because some people have been slapped with the no biddies and all that.
What is this?
Twitch has this weird bit system, which basically they give you small incremental bits of money, like for watching commercials. They'll give you like 10 cents or something, right? And then so you can
Wow.
keep watching commercials and whatnot, and they can donate them to people basically. So Connor just threw me like $10 worth of biddies or something like that. It's pretty sweet.
What a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hear chips. Did Edgar, are you there? Okay. No, he's grabbing some stuff. We'll chill for a bit. I got back pretty quick there.
I think we're still missing Annie too.
Gotcha.
She's here. She's just laying down.
Wow.
That'll be cool to get that money out of Twitch, because it's just, I don't know, you just sit there at like 80 for so long, or 90 or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we won't give you any of it till you hit 100, so just like, fuck.
Don't they take half of it?
I think it's already subtracted from the bits.
Oh, okay.
I think if I get 50 after it says 100, I would be kind of like, you know, I wouldn't be mad. I would just be disappointed, because at this point, service providers are such douchebags that I've kind of stopped caring. I've just become desensitized to it.
I know it's straight up donations and stuff, isn't it? 50%?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Or subscription and stuff.
Dude, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was laughing so fucking hard at Steve when I just swung by my desk for a second. All I heard was he was trying to guess my character's name from last like episode 1, right?
You heard that.
To mislead him, I told him that it started with a V. So I leave, I swing back real quick. Is it Varric? And I just start dying. I just start fucking dying.
No,
Oh my-
I was like, all right.
I was dying. I couldn't stop fucking laughing.
Hey, that's like a 0.5. You know, that's like
That, you got half marks.
yeah. If I was the prof, I'd still give you something for that.
Holy shit. Oh, thank you for that.
I really couldn't think of it though. I was like, what was it? And then I remembered it. After I said Varric, I said Carrick. I was like, that's right.
I didn't hear that part, so I can't confirm or deny it.
Do you remember his original?
Well, no, that was like I left after that. His original, the one that died from burning hands.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I know that.
I
one.
remember. Fucking
I'm
sloth.
pretty sure that one started with a V as well.
It did not start with an E. Did not.
I said V.
Yes, 100%.
Was
Yeah.
it Vion Lightbringer?
It was beyond Lightbringer.
Viper.
There's the alliteration there.
That was such a
That's
sad day
awful
for me.
spinning.
Oh my god, that was such a sad day for me.
You went quiet.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
were so.
you
pissed.
guys. I don't think you guys have heard me mad once on stream, legit mad. And I cooled down immediately after, right? But that was just like a. Are
At
you
that moment, you were just
serious? Ugh. Oh shit.
Should just ran to the woods.
Yeah, man.
It
But
was
I
right
didn't know
there.
anyone was lying, so I had no
True.
reason to run to the woods.
I was the only one who did.
He literally disclosed the lie while we were talking to the guards. And then I was like, oh, fuck.
Empty your backpack. No.
Yeah, okay, it's in there, guys. You caught me.
break the window and jump out. Oh, later on we have to pay
We
for the
had to get
window.
away.
What a clusterfuck that session was. We had some good
And
times in
Lucius
season 1.
just going like, all right, guys, like I said, I can give you the freebie in exchange. I'm like, no. No. I don't want it.
I didn't need it.
I will say that I kill players pretty often, but it's rare that my players kill each other. That doesn't happen very often.
Oh my god. I mean, we were what, level 2, I think?
Yeah.
Were we that high?
No, I think
Oh
you
yeah,
were-
because did we?
Yeah,
start
we
out-
were 2. We
Yeah.
were 2, 100% we were 2. We started level 1, and
Did we
we
beat
leveled
the
up in
orcs
the
and
woods
became
there.
level 2?
I think so.
Yeah, because
something
you
like
were a
that.
couple sessions in, and level 2 happens pretty fast.
We had already gotten into the woods. We already went to the chicken leg hut. We already escaped the woods. Went back to the. There was quite a few sessions that were in.
In the
And this
town
was
there?
after the Avatar and
Yeah.
me low key trying to rob the old man to see if he was actually a
I'm
bad.
trying to save him.
That's one of the really cool things I like about D&D is, like, whether it's, season 2 or the first season or whatever, or games before that, I get nostalgic about, like, things that we've done. I very rarely get nostalgic about, like, a game in Monopoly I played with some people one day, or so, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
very
it's
good
weird
memories.
how it does that. Yeah. Oh my god. So many, like me shitting my pants in the vampire fortress underground.
Finding that was pretty
God.
great.
So good.
What about just even at the beginning, me and Sloth being like, we were in that chicken hut. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat your soup. And it's like, yeah, it's really good soup.
Didn't Leon just like straight up go like, all right? I think
Yeah.
I just drank it.
You and Aldrin were like, sure, why not? And you're like, I don't know about that.
Right, because Leon's whole thing was that he was raised in a cloister and he thought like what's his name, Solon, his god
think
would
so.
would just guide him on the right path, so he didn't really think anything could go wrong. The real tragedy.
What could go
He
wrong?
got burned- He got burned alive, follower of the sun.
How ironic.
Oh yeah, ironic.
I thought you were gonna end it at, we were in this chick, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That was the next campaign.
The rite of passage of all clerics.
Yeah.
Go balls deep. Balls deep.
Are we ready to go here, boyos?
I think we're all
I
here.
think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, welcome back, guys. Stepping through the portal, colors, darkness, light goes whizzing past you, and the vague sense of a tunnel that you're going through can be seen in periphery, until there's a flash, and you find yourselves stepping out into a hot and arid desert world. In front of you, there are all these adobe buildings that spread out for miles and miles, and at the center of the city, you see a few incredibly massive structures, the Great Pyramids of Seba, which are easily the largest buildings that you guys have ever seen. Even the Imperial Consulate in Aurelium, the height of the Eldritch Tower, nothing matches these. They are colossal. And standing near these is just it's almost like an optical illusion. Like you can't believe it quite. Like it's like a being next to a mountain that's clearly been man-made sort of thing. Like it's awe-inspiring. Beyond that, your local situation seems to be some kind of platform that has the portal on it, and there are other portals nearby as well, and you can see a great number of guards that are kind of standing in the area and everything, who are looking around here and there, and some of them are chit-chatting with each other. But as you guys step off here, one of them calls to you and says, "Clear the way, please." And immediately, one of the things that you notice about the guard that turns and calls over to you is that, like, his mouth doesn't move at all. Like, it kind of does, but not really in the real sense, because he's entirely a skeleton.
I walk off the platform.
Yeah.
You guys
hand
step
on
out
the
of the way.
pommel of my sword, but like not threatening, but like the fuck's going on type of thing.
As you guys move, he calls out again, says, "Thank you. Enjoy your stay." And you guys can see why, as other portals nearby occasionally fire off and people just, appear there and step out, so it makes sense that they'd want you to kind of shuffle out of the way.
Are you really that surprised that there's undead so close to the necro halls?
Not surprised, and
Just
they
unnerved.
They are tolerated in Soulsland. It's just not something you get used to.
Are there any humans about, or like non-undead creatures about that look like they might be natives?
You see plenty of people wandering around, though on this large platform it seems everybody is a fully equipped guard. Now, past this platform, further into the city, you see what look like just regular people, going about their business and whatnot.
That's fine. I'll go to that same guard from before.
Sure.
That dead one.
You turn over there and wander towards him, and he looks at you and says, "Sir?"
Might you be able to point us to the necro halls?
He extends a hand and points off in one of those directions across the city, the action of which is accompanied by the sound of creaking bones and also metallic pieces rubbing upon one another. And you see a fairly large sort of square building that rises up, not anything like the pyramids at all, but noticeably a couple stories taller than the average buildings over there. And this perfectly rectangular building has a feature to it that you're able to see quite easily, which is these pillars outside that have like green flame burning atop them.
Ah, thank you.
Green flame.
Someone was thinking it.
I'll return to the group.
Okay.
That's where we're headed.
I'm just following, but kind of staying close to the group and keeping my head on a swivel.
Sure.
Nice fellow. Very helpful.
I would say, given the amount of travel that you guys have done together, it's quite obvious that Edgar is put off about something.
Edgar, you appear put off by something. Is it all the undead?
I'm just gonna furrow my brow at him, like fuck off. I'll just keep looking at the skeletons.
Is it because their souls are trapped in here? Is that what happened?
No, their souls are in Soulsland.
How does Edgar look?
I'm just kind of like I almost had like a what the fuck moment, and then I became alert again.
Okay. The streets of Seba are a little bit different than what you would expect, and the area around you, which hits you like a wall from the moment that you step out of the portal, is still not something you're quite used to. Now, Arillo, for you, you're fine, given your background, but for the rest of you, it is fucking hot here. And everything in the city is like sun-baked. There's no clouds up above. The rays of the sun just come beaming down onto everything. And like even the roads in a lot of these parts are just kind of like caked dirt that's been pounded into just like this cracked cement type thing. And it is not pleasant. Wearing armor here, you guys notice that anybody else who's wandering in combat gear doesn't seem to go past like leather. And Edgar, you find like the chainmail that you're wearing starts to kind of heat up pretty fast.
I'll open up, like, I'll probably like start taking the tabard off and start opening things up if I can.
Sure. Now, as you guys are wandering through here, you're already in the thick of the city where there's tons of people wandering around, and there's all sorts of little buildings, and you see shops and little stalls on the side of the road with people selling things. And one of the things that you guys notice, which is not something you see every day, is that the slave trade in Seba is a very prominent thing, and it seems to be just as normal to be passing by a food stall that 10 feet away has like, you know, a stand where somebody's selling like a couple of like slaves taken from who knows where. Now, as you guys wander through here, are you beelining it for the necro halls?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. I would like somebody to roll luck, please.
I was gonna say, out of curiosity, how much is a slave?
It's all built.
Oh, interesting. The slaves that you see there seem to range anywhere from like a few gold to being a couple of hundred, depending on what stall you're going by. Oh, that's not good at all. But yeah, it looks like you could, like, you see what looks like a, kind of like a homeless man. He's pretty emaciated. He looks like he's in really rough shape. He's probably ill. And the man's asking for 20 gold for him.
As we're walking by, I'll toss a healing word on the old guy.
Alright. You see that you alleviate some of his pain there as he's seated there. And, I'm gonna roll actually to see if the guy notices that you healed his slave. No, he doesn't. The guy kind of turns and looks like he's staring through the crowd trying to find out the source of this. But you can tell that you've eased his pain quite a bit. Now, wandering along through here, rolling a 2. Oh, that's not a great number. Not exactly a fantastic number, is that? Okay. Okay. As you guys go walking along, a set of guards approach you. And it looks like just 2 guards wandering along. Sort of the standard in the world is just like a, a beat patrol. And one of them looks over towards you guys, and Kalik and Annie, you guys kind of get the stink eye for a second from this guy. And he looks at you with like the worst possible gaze. And then he crosses the road, and it looks like the 2 guards are wandering now. Instead of just going past, they're going towards your group.
Look lively.
The guards step up. And as they do so, one of them says, "Alright, you got any papers?"
Are they looking at me or the tieflings?
They're looking at you, Edgar.
Sure, what kind of papers do you need?
For these demons here. And he points at Kalik and Annie.
Well, these tieflings are free, independent people, so I
Not
don't
in
have
this
any
city, they
paperwork
aren't.
for them.
How'd you get past the gates?
We used the teleportation circle, sir.
And they didn't run you through any of the...
The guard at the gate or at the circles made no mention of that.
I'll kind of soften up and I'll try to look non-threatening. No, unfortunately they didn't. And we're brand new to Seba. We've never been here, so. And I put my hands up. I apologize if we're offending you or your customs in any way.
Alright, well here's the lowdown. No tieflings are allowed in the city. And if you try to keep them here, they'll be executed.
What kind of papers were you looking for?
Oh my god.
I'd like to leave.
Well, if these tieflings are your property, then it's different. But as free citizens, they will be put to the blade.
Well, I'll look over. Do you mind giving us just one moment?
He takes like 2 steps back and starts murmuring to the other guard.
Alright, guys, so are you okay with being temporarily owned by one of us?
I look Edgar dead in the face. And I'm like, Edgar, how much are you willing to buy me for?
I would start the bidding at 5 copper.
What about me?
Come on, you guys held hands. Yeah, there we go, there you go.
Hey! Can I get that right?
And I'll kind of smile, but I'll stay somber because I understand that they're being subjected to like serious racism. But look, kidding aside, if we just get the papers taken care of, I know it's a huge affront to you guys, and I don't want to force you into it. If you want to stay on the city limits, while maybe I escort Tidge to wherever we're going, we can do that. I don't want to put you in any weird situation. I don't know how else to describe it. This isn't something that I've ever experienced before, so I apologize.
Edgar, if it means we don't die, I think I'll be okay with it.
Alright, who do you want to be your slave owners? And I'll kind of give them like I'll cock an eyebrow and smile.
One of the guards steps back
really
towards your
get to
group.
pick.
And as he steps back to your group, says, "Alright, you done yet?"
Yeah, we're just deciding who's owning who.
That's not how it works. Look, there's people already watching. You give me 5 gold, you give my friend 5 gold. We'll turn around and forget your face till we run into you again. Buy you some time.
Can I insight check these guys?
Sure.
See if they're just trying to hassle us. I doubt I would know whether or not. That's a 6.
This is a foreign land, and you don't know if this is common practice or if you are being swindled. Should have bought the trash can.
This is like a hack, but can I channel divinity? Persuasion?
Sure, what do you want to say?
I'll look at the guy. Look, how about you just escort us to the office for the paperwork? I'll give you guys a flat 5 gold. We'll take care of this right away. We're never going to be a problem with you guys again. Alright? We got caught out. I'm sorry about that, and I'm willing to pay you guys a bit just for the escort there. That sound fair?
Roll persuasion.
While he's doing that, can I look around and see if anybody's really making that much of a fuss?
Yeah, you initially thought people were watching you just because, well, you clearly don't fit in here. With the armor and everything.
That's a 27, son.
But the more that you look at their gaze, you can tell they're not so much looking at you, but more like just a couple members of your group, and you realize that the guards are, well, at least part of what they're saying is true.
Yeah.
And how much was that on persuasion?
27,000.
Yikes. Okay. He says, "Alright, there's an office around the corner. Hurry up."
Yep, lead the way. We're right behind you.
He turns around the corner there and leads you guys down a street. and then eventually comes up to a merchant stall there, and you can see it's got this large sort of stage area there that's like 3 feet above the street, where there's a bunch of other slaves, and there's a couple of merchants standing around there, and a couple of others who are kind of on the ground that look like they're negotiating prices. Guard steps up to one and says, hey, these outsiders here need some papers. They own these two demon children right here. And he gives a nod, and after that starts to kind of like gather up some papers and whatnot. And while he's getting his things together, the guard comes over and nudges you, Edgar.
I'll very discreetly pass him 5 gold.
Sure. The other one looks at you.
I said a flat 5, boys.
That was 5 each.
Can I give him like a cocked eyebrow? Like, come on.
You can try, but you're gonna have to roll a pushing your luck roll.
Sure. My channel divinity's still rolling, so
Roll persuasion.
hot damn. 22. Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. I'm gonna roll to see how he takes this.
Sure.
Okay. He gives a look over towards you, Kalik, there, like you're, well, like you belong in a magical trash can, and then turns away and they leave.
Boy, did he give you the stink eye.
The merchant comes over and he says, okay, so what was it exactly? These two are yours, yes?
I'll point to Tidge.
Ah,
Yes.
His.
small master, these are your slaves, yes?
Yes.
Okay, I
Yeah.
can't confirm anything for price, so I'm just gonna give them what I think would be fair price. Is that okay with you?
That is fine. Wow.
Sorry, sir. Well, we've already owned them for quite some time. What cost are you talking about?
I see. You might have your own idea of what it is that they are worth, but for my papers, I have to put down something. And since you don't have your papers on you, I'll just have to give them an estimate on the spot. But
Well,
they seem
if
like they're both in health, more or less, yes, and they're
Ooh.
still young.
Table talk. He's putting a price on how much we're worth to sell. Is that correct?
Yes,
Not how much we have to pay to get the papers.
yes.
No, it's like a valuation for the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're getting a car, and the government wants to know how much it's worth, approximately.
Yeah.
Just so you know, sir, this one talks back all the time, and the other one has a cough that won't stop.
I raise an eyebrow.
He looks at you guys expectantly.
Trying to get us lower taxes, guys. Come on.
I'm
Work
not.
with me.
I'm not rolling and
Make
say
a-
I didn't catch that.
Make a
So I'm just
persuasion
like,
roll, Edgar.
Channel divinity.
I'll have you know, I'm
victory!
very capable.
Oh no! 14.
He looks at you and he goes, "Ah, I see, I see." And he nudges your arm and he says, "Don't worry, I understand." And he kind of looks at you guys, jots something down, looks at the other, and it goes, "How old are you both?"
I put my hand like raising it up. Come on.
32.
And you?
26.
Okay, okay. And you said the real bad cough, yes?
Oh, terrible.
It never shuts up.
What?
I
cough?
know, and I slip him 2 gold on the counter.
Okay, okay. Is probably recovering from some injury, might never be good in the field, and this one should probably be no good for anything.
Oh, the prognosis is terrible, and I'll flash him like a smirk.
Okay, the papers are done, and the seals are all in place. I just need a small payment for the fees. It'll be another 5 gold for the papers, and they're yours.
I'll look to the slaves.
I will, since I'm a slave, pay for my papers.
As you extend the money to him, he like retracts his hand, like he's like visibly disgusted, not wanting
Oh
to.
no,
to
no,
touch
I'm not
you.
gonna hand it to him. I'm gonna hand it to
Okay.
my master.
Gotcha.
All right, there you go, Tidge.
There you are. There's your payment.
Oh my god, this is really disturbing.
You're lucky you came to me. Just a tip. And he says this as he hands over the papers and takes this. He says, "You're not the first outsiders I've seen who've run into something like this. You're lucky your friends still have their heads. It's probably better to like dress them down a bit so it's believable. You know what I mean? Maybe get here. I've got an extra pair." And he turns over and rummages around, and he hands you 2 sets of manacles.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I thought I still had mine from when I picked the lock.
You manacle yourself? Yes!
I'll take 1 pair and I'll slap them very loosely on Kalik.
Sure.
Super loose.
See, it's the better you have them kind of chained up and everything, the less people will, look at you and everything. It'll be a bit easier.
Of course.
They're not going to bother us, right? They're not going to pester our property, quote unquote.
Well, somebody might approach if they want to buy them, but they're not exactly. They don't fetch a great price over here.
as you saw.
There's the cough. She's got now. Okay.
Oh no, she's the one that talks back. I don't know what that was.
Well, that's your problem now. I have to go. Hey, good luck out there. And he gives you a tap on the back and turns back into the crowd.
Well, that was disgusting.
Yeah, I didn't go into that.
I want to leave.
Let's get as much information from the Necrohalls as possible, as fast as possible, and get out of here.
I no longer have very much money, but I guess that's fitting now since I'm a slave.
Kalik, you can learn a thing or two from Annie. She seems to be taking this in great stride.
According to the papers that you've been given, each of your friends is worth roughly about 20 gold.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Oh no.
I think I'm worth... Well, I'm not sure. At least a little more than 20 gold.
Look, we fudged your valuation so we wouldn't get too much trouble. We want to be as below the radar as possible, right?
This is a useless piece of paper. All it does is keep your guys' heads while you're here.
Yeah. Well,
as I said, let's get our business done here and get out.
Make sure you don't lose that paper, please.
you guys want to hold on to it?
No, I'm not holding onto my own paper. What would they think of that?
Somebody calls to your group and says, "Hey, human." And when you
I'm the only human, I guess. Yeah.
When you turn, you see what looks to be 2 skeletons there with a set of like cloth robes and everything. And one of them points to over to Kalik and Annie and says, "How much for one of these?"
Piss off.
Jeez.
Whoa. Yeah, they're not for sale. You don't want these.
I'm just like moving towards the Necrohalls. I've had enough.
Hey, we've got money. He holds out like a pouch that looks like it's just brimming with coin.
My shoulders just crunch up in discomfort as I see his bony hands extend towards me. And I'll just be like, "No, that's okay, thanks."
You guys turn away, and one of them says, "Fuck, humans, dude, I don't get it." And
I'm going. Can I turn around and then walk up to him and just pick him up and say, "They're not for sale"?
Oh God.
when you lift him there, he looks down at you, expressionless, as his skull stares into yours, and he says, "I'll call the fucking guard if you don't put me down."
I'll drop him.
Just the fuck's your problem? It's just trying to do some business.
Orillo, let's go.
Under the radar, friend. God, I'm using expressions,
Right.
which don't work in D&D.
No, radar's a magical spell that lets you detect.
Thank you. You always have my back.
Under the detect good and evil.
What is-
Exactly.
What is radar?
Dolphins.
So you guys turn and
Oh.
wander away from the crowd
What
there,
are
and sure enough, you still get some weird looks from people, but it doesn't seem to be as bad.
Well, let's get a move on. By the way, again, Jem gave us this lead, so A, he could be here, keep your eye out, and B, let's be careful. Like I told you guys, he knew about this rune. I'm 12 again. He knew about this rune, so I don't want to take any chances. Let's just get in and out.
Okay.
Are there any guards outside? Well, I'll wait till we get there.
Yeah,
I
you see
guess.
guards wandering around here and there in the city.
Well, have we gotten to the Necro Halls yet?
Not quite. Do you want to wait till you
Okay.
get there?
Yeah, I'll ask whoever's at the door or whatever.
Sure. A bit more travel, making your way through what seems to be largely urban areas. You eventually emerge into the huge courtyards around the Necro Halls, and they are quite formidable buildings. Sort of similar in style to the Aurelian government buildings, but made with sandstone and decorated in a different way, and with these large, like burning and crackling green flames from these huge pillars outside. They're really something. The halls themselves seem to have robed figures that come and go here and there, and, you know, guards kind of pace the area, not really on guard or anything. They seem fairly leisurely. You approach one of them, and he looks over, and you see the human guy kind of gives you a smile and a nod, and says, what can I do for you guys?
Good day, sir. I'm wondering if you might be able to tell us if I can find a bard jogger here.
Could you say that again, please?
Bar jogger or yarger?
Jogger, I think.
Jarger?
Roll luck, please.
That's you, Steve.
Don't hit the side. Oh, it's. Oh, thank
Oh.
God. It's never good on the side. Somehow it came back.
Yeah, it was gonna be a 2.
Yeah. Luckily it wasn't. 16.
16.
Sextine.
The guard gives you a nod and he says, "Oh, the high priest. Is that who you're looking for?"
Yes, I believe it is.
It's not this hall, but that one right there that you want to go to, and hopefully you'll be able to speak with him. The high priest is quite old.
Thank you for your help.
Hey, no problem.
And I'll head over there.
He gives you guys a nod, and you travel over towards these halls. And passing by these huge flaming pillars, it kind of feels like you're stepping almost into like a magical realm. And when you get up towards the massive door, like the huge archway that goes up like 40 feet, it's like walking into some strange cathedral that's just been dedicated to necromancy. And you see that the murals on the walls are all related to like dark spells and things like that, and there's like strange spirits that seem to wander in the area, what look almost like ghosts or specters kind of move from one spot to the next. You see people who are undead, people who are still in the living, people who are practicing spells, people who are talking. It's difficult to discern exactly what the use is for this building, but it's clear that it's quite large and probably has many rooms that lead out of this main hallway. Now, when you get in here, all of the voices and chitter-chatter and everything seem to echo about the walls. Are you looking for any kind of person in particular, or what's going on here?
Is there like a doorway or something that looks either heavily guarded or like super ornate that would probably lend itself to the high priest's chambers or something like that?
The very back wall has a number of doors on it that look like they're larger than the side walls.
Are there guard? Oh, go ahead.
If this senior magister is kind of a pain in the ass, he might not like seeing us. Point to me and Annie.
It's a good point.
Might be best for us not to be there.
It could also be a sign that we're familiar with the customs and that we're also capable of owning slaves. Could go both ways.
If he requires that information, then I suppose he can bring them in later, but it's best not to offend him right off the bat.
I have this paper from
Zorig?
Zorig. Yeah, that's his name.
Are you guys alright with waiting out here?
We
Perhaps
can't leave
with-
them alone.
Perhaps
I
with
can
Arillo?
I can stay with them if you'd like, or Arillo, whatever you prefer.
I could stay. Let the two smart guys go in.
Fair enough.
Arillo,
Just,
here. Take these. And I'll hand him the papers.
I'll be very uncomfortable till you get back.
Yeah, because
Was that
Arillo's gonna be your mouthpiece if anyone stops you guys. So,
Yes.
Arillo, all you need to do, and I looked the big bastard right in the eyes. All you need to do if someone bothers you, you stand strong. You tell them, your employers are inside, and that they're not to do anything with these two until we come out. All right?
If they require anything further, show them the papers.
That's right.
Good
Tell them that
question.
the individual
Yeah.
on there is with the high priest.
Yeah, they have
Got that.
Tidge's name on there as the owner, so.
You got that? So you're the bodyguard that we hired. You're a free man who's employed. You just say, my employer's inside. Don't touch these two motherfuckers. Here are the papers if you need them. That's all. you
Edgar,
need to do.
perhaps to be extra cautious, could you draft up something that maybe says that he's my, I don't know, guardian, he's able to guard these slaves in my stead that I could sign off on
Sure, I can whip something up.
if they need anything else in per.
I'll draft up an employment contract for like a really basic one for Arillo, and I'll put the employers like the main employer. I'll list him as Tidge, and I'll have Tidge and Arillo sign it.
Okay.
And I'll put an asterisk in there saying it can be annulled at any time, because I know it's a Metri contract, so I don't want this to be legit long lasting. So
You guys are group huddled and noticed a faint, sickly light that comes from the floor at the center of you, as some sort of green mass begins to slowly seep upwards from the floor.
I'd instinctively step back, I think.
yeah, same here.
Okay.
Mm,
What looks to be a ghastly form of somebody starts to kind of pour upwards from the floor here, and past the sandstone you see what looks like a woman wearing a bunch of rags, and her feminine features have long since been ravaged by age, making her look much more like a zombie than anything else. And as she floats up, she turns and points at you, Edgar, and says, "Dishonesty," and then just kind of like floats away, seemingly into nowhere, like up towards the ceiling, and then like drifts between some pillars.
Shit. She's right. I rip up the contract.
It's not technically that wrong. I mean, he is somewhat I sort of employed him as a guide.
Tidge, can I, unless you want to square this off right away, I need to be honest with you all. Metri could have quite outright killed me for breaking my oath last time around. I'm on very thin ice right now, and I've been on a good path thus far. This is something Edgar Lyle of old would do, willingly, because I know it would serve the greater good. But right now, every small victory I need in my book, so If you guys just want to make this official, it'll rest much better on my conscience, because that freaked me the fuck out.
Well, are you stating he's going to own us for real?
No, we're doing an employment contract between Arillo and Tidge. So it doesn't even have to be an employment. Whatever you guys want to work out, I'll take a step back. But that's, I'll be really visibly disturbed, and I'll just kind of back off and just kind of collect myself while they two talk.
Somebody approaches you guys at this point, and he's wearing the robes that everybody else here seems to be wearing. And as he comes up, he gives you guys a nod, and you see he's got, like, you know, kind of religious symbols and wizard robes and priestly raiments and everything like that. And as he nods towards you, he says, "Visitors, is there anything I can help you with?"
I believe, probably, actually.
Speak then.
First, are we offending anyone by having these two in here?
Are they offerings?
Oh, shit.
No, they are not.
Ah. So, I suppose I must ask, what is their purpose here, then?
You'll have to forgive my ignorance, I guess. These are my slaves, and this is my first time in Seba.
Such property is not illegal to have here. Certain establishments may turn them away, but slaves are perfectly fine in the halls.
Well, my intent is to, if possible, speak with the High Priest. I imagine that he wouldn't be too fond of having a couple individuals such as these in his presence.
Ah, you wish to speak with Barjarger, do you?
I do. I don't wish to take up too much of his time, just a couple of questions.
Of course. I can lead you to him, if you wish.
If I leave these two with my large friend here, will they be unharassed?
I don't see why they would be bothered.
Excellent.
Come. He turns and leads you away from the group, and you guys watch as this priest takes Tidge off towards the back end of the room.
I'll just, as I'm walking away, I guess, I'll message Kalik and be like, I'll try, if I've got enough time, I'll do it to Kalik and Edgar and be like, is there anything that you wish to ask? Any questions that you have for him?
You guys can each reply with a sentence.
I'll just kind of snap out of my my little haze here, and I won't even reply. I'll just start following Tidge. Because that was what we agreed on initially, right?
Okay.
I will say the symbol and the Mad Mage Ajun Takat.
I'll just kind of nod. And not necessarily to Kalik, but I mean, you would know that I got it.
Okay. Now, as you guys get up towards the door here, you're glad that this man has led you, because there's a number of them here, and you could have easily have picked any of them. And this one doesn't seem to be much different from the others. As he comes up towards it, he turns to face you and says, "Now, if you're to speak with Barjarger, there's something you should know. He is..." And then he kind of like looks over and sees that Edgar's approaching. And he says, "Oh, sorry, sir. Are you coming to speak with Barjarger as well?"
If that's permitted. If not, I can wait behind.
Nope, that should be fine. But you'll want to listen closely as well. Barjarger has been through many deaths and many lives. And at this point, he has become somewhat erratic in his personality. If it seems as though he's not much for talk, you would do best to simply leave the room, dismiss yourselves, simply say a prayer to Hezra and turn and leave instead of trying to get more information out of him. You can always return at a different day, but it's not advised to speak with him if he's, well, if he's having one of those days. I hope you understand. He's approximately 300 years older than most humans ever get to.
I'll just nod.
Yeah, me too.
Very well. I wish you the best. Hopefully he's in a good mood. And the guy turns the handle with a key there and opens up the door. I'd like somebody to please roll luck to see if Barjarger is in a good mood.
Connor.
Oh, it's me.
You best roll.
Hey, today he's been good.
He's been really good. The last 2 sessions, actually.
Go for it, slave hands.
Hey, hope that note helps you out.
Yeah, the note is gonna be clutch.
No! The 3.
It's the old Connor we know and love.
Yeah, he's back.
I'm back, baby.
You guys step into the room and see that there are a number of like altars and magical implements here, and there is a single solitary man standing in the middle of the room, and he has both of his hands outstretched, and in each hand there appears to be a flame. One is purple and the other is green. What do you guys do as you come in?
I'll approach to a respectable distance.
Okay, so you're still standing kind of like in the entrance hallway, just on the barrier between that and the room.
Greetings, Barjarger. We come at the suggestion of the mage Zurich in Solsland.
Zurich has sent you?
Perhaps not sent us, but given us a recommendation to speak with you. We seek some information, if possible.
And what does Zurg want this time?
Well, we're not on an errand for Zurg. Merely just looking for some information ourselves. I won't come in here and under false pretenses.
With 2 blasts, each of the flames explodes and disappears, and he turns to face you. And you see that this man looks like he is like a ghost superimposed over a skeleton. You see like human features in a sort of like spectral light placed over an empty skeleton. And as he turns to you, it's like some sort of combination between ghost and ghoul, and he frowns in your direction, and he says, "Information? Is that what you want from me? Then spit it out."
We're looking for just 2 things, really. We'd like to know about an ancient rune, and also about a mage.
I'll right when you says that, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna put my hand out, like, just let's not go there just yet.
Okay.
I don't know if you're gonna listen, but that's just what Edgar would do.
An old rune. I know all the runes, nearly all the runes. I can tell you some things. My information's not for everybody. Not for everybody.
And perhaps we'll focus on another thing, actually. A mage by the name of Ajun Takat.
Ajun. Curse him. Has he died yet?
It would seem not. He's It appears that he's tracking us and harrying us multiple occasions.
Following you? Why? You taken something from him? The man walks towards you.
Not taken, but I think we are seeking something that he is also seeking at the same time. This rune that I spoke of before.
I'd like you to make a persuasion check, please, Tidge.
Good thing I didn't take beguiling influence.
Let's see if this man likes you at all. Oh!
That's not bad. I believe that is... Scroll, please.
He says it's not bad. Rolls a 19.
12. 22.
12. -7. He holds up his hand towards you, and you see what looks like a spell sort of materialize there, and then the spell disappears as he pulls his hand back and goes, maybe another time. Maybe another time. You're looking for information on a June. He's been kicked out a long time ago. Well, long enough.
Would he be after a tome of incredible power? Something pertaining to an ancient spell of binding.
He was thrown out for reading books he wasn't supposed to read.
Well, I seek a tome that no one should read, and my aim is to remove it from this plane.
Well, that sounds like him.
Did he desire to get rid of it completely? Remove it from this plane entirely?
I'll start drawing the rune on a piece of paper, and I'll hand it to Tidge while they're talking.
When you go to draw on a piece of paper, your body is thrown against the back wall, and you're lifted like 3 feet off of the ground as the man holds a hand towards you. And some sort of powerful telekinesis causes the pen and paper to fall from your hands.
I assure you, he meant no offense. He's not a man of much magic.
You're lucky your soul's worth so little to me.
Did he get anywhere with that rune?
No, you like pulled it out the moment that your pen touched the paper. You were thrown against the wall.
I'm sure he was just trying to sketch this rune for you so that you might know what we're looking for.
Nameless, useless, as if I'd give the information to you. Who are you even? Why should I give any information to you?
Was he keeping me pinned?
Yeah, you're stuck against the wall. Your throat is like constantly under pressure. You could speak, but it would sound like distorted. You can barely breathe.
I don't want to piss him off more.
Look, if you would like us to leave, then I will be on my way. But
not even gonna give your name before you go? You won't even tell me who you are. Looking for information.
My name is Tom Jack Brindlestock, but most people call me Tidge.
Tom Jack. I'll remember you, Tom Jack. Now get out of here.
Okay.
And there's a clatter as you kind of, fall back to your feet there, Edgar. And the man turns back, and with a poof, you watch as like a purple flame appears in his hand, and then a green one in the other.
I'll just shoot Edgar a glance, be like, are you okay?
I'll just, I'm not even gonna look at Tidge, I'm just gonna collect the paper and pen, and just start hustling out.
Okay. The two of you emerge on the other side. The attendant who was there seems to not be around at all. He might have wandered elsewhere. But you do see your group at the center of the room. You guys, by the way, have not been pestered during this time, save for what looks like a swirling mass of 3 ghosts moving in a spiral, which momentarily make a circle around you guys. And it sounds kind of like kids giggling to themselves before they sort of like float further away and disappear.
I'd like to leave.
The two return.
I'm going to be rubbing my neck.
I'd like to leave.
Sure. I don't think that we'll be getting too much more information today. Unfortunately, I think if we want any more from him, we'll have to come back again.
Yeah, he wasn't too accommodating to me, that's for sure.
Is there... Well, actually, are you guys comfortable with trying to find perhaps an inn of some sort that would be more welcoming to you, or would we like to camp outside of the city limits?
To be honest with you, this is just my idea, but of course, if they're more comfortable outside, so be it. But we might actually be more protected inside than outside.
I mean, that's what I was kind of thinking.
So, it's up to you two.
We'll go wherever you'd like, Master.
Well,
I'll
look,
just nod, visibly uncomfortable.
I'm gonna look to Tidge. That's not like you to be passive aggressive, Kalik. Out with it.
I'd like to leave.
Okay. Well then let's leave. I'll look to Tidge and just kind of shrug my shoulders.
I'd like somebody to roll luck, please.
Meow.
Six.
Okay. As you guys turn to leave, your eyes catch something. It's a familiar sight, and it's small enough that most people wouldn't notice, but at this point, you're kind of good at picking this up. You see what looks like a single solitary white mouse running along the top of the, what's it called, like the archway on the way outside. And the thing looks over the side there and then pushes a small object over the side, and it lands on the ground.
Can I pick it up?
Sure. You pick up a golden piece.
How did it find us?
Must have some sort of link with us. Here.
What did you pick up?
I'll show him. Just one piece of gold.
Yeah, it looks kind of old and like caked in dirt. It's like it's been left out somewhere for a long time.
Gold is gold.
Gold is gold.
I'll hand it to Kayla.
Right, but what if it's a special piece?
Hold this for me.
Yes, master.
Alright.
The last time we thought something was special about what it brought us, Andy, we went on a drunk quest to try to put a key inside of a lock.
What if all of these things that he's bringing us have something to do with each other, though? We still have the key in the lock, correct?
You're free to explore that. I'm sternly calling it disappointment, and I'm not deviating from that anymore. I don't believe that mouse is gonna do us any good.
I think we should give it time.
I think
I'm
he's
gonna
kind
give it
of
some
cute. Mice are very smart.
Are they?
Yeah, aren't you, Fergus?
Fergus squeaks in your direction, Edgar. You can only imagine at what strange, profound utterings that mouse must have just given you.
Oh wow, you can have it squeak on command. That's impressive.
Alright, let's be on our way.
Okay.
Perhaps there's some sort of small, maybe some sort of respite outside of town.
So you guys are leaving town.
Calyx pouting. Got no
Okay.
choice.
You guys head off and make your way through the city, eventually getting towards one of the major gates. And when you get up there, the guards simply ask you what your business is when you go to leave.
Is there nothing but wasteland out there? Just open desert, or is there...
Desert dunes. Not really pleasant on the other side of the walls, the man says.
Is there a cost for coming back in?
He shakes his head.
No, excellent.
Do you still want to leave, Kalik?
Is there anywhere we might catch a bit of rest out there? Or would that be pretty foolhardy?
The dunes are fairly dangerous. You can be... Like, how long of a rest? If you're planning to sleep, you could be covered in sand and never wake up. If you're willing to risk it, you can try and rest by the river, but there are creatures that stay around that spot.
I'm gonna heavy eye roll to Kalik, come on, buddy, nut up.
We can stay here. Just saying, I'm not comfortable.
Look, Kalik, I get you're not comfortable, but that whole master quip made me think it was something a little more. So it's up to you.
The guard is giving you guys the weirdest look right now.
Could you point me to an inn that might be a little more forgiving to individuals such as these?
Yeah, there's a couple of lower places nearby, and he kind of points off and he says, down the road there, There's a tavern. They'll probably let you take them in.
Which one's the closest to the edge of town? That one
here.
right there?
Yeah, he gives you a little paper there and shows you a spot.
Thank you. Alright. Then I'm just gonna glance around to everybody. And
I'm good to go.
let's go. As we move out of earshot of the guard, it's like, I'd like to think I'm no more comfortable here than you are, but there's too much. We can't just. We got very little information from the high priest. I'm trying to make this as quick as possible.
And trust me, I got flung up like a rag doll by a creature about 100 times older than I am, so...
Right, and we did pay a lot of money to get in here. Plus 5 gold for those papers. Keelik.
I'm not asking you to be comfortable, I'm just asking you to give me a little more time.
You've got time.
You guys come up to what appears to be Vesma's Inn. It's definitely a hole-in-the-wall kind of place.
Is there a hole in the wall?
Yeah, there's like a hole in the wall nearby.
If you know what I mean.
It's roughly at waist height.
We'll go up to the barkeep.
Okay. When you step into the tavern, you see there's a couple of people who are seated around drinking in this little area here at the front. And some people give you guys like a look as you enter, but others just kind of stick to themselves. And the woman behind the counter looks like she's probably a middle-aged human who gives you guys a sort of smile and a nod there. But the closer that you get to her, you realize that there's something kind of different about her. There's like a skin color change that seems a little bit uncharacteristic, and you guys realize that she's a half-orc. When you guys get up to the counter, she goes, "Welcome to Vesma's. What do you need?"
Lodging, if you've got any rooms available.
Sure. How many?
How many do you have?
5.
What's the going rate?
2 copper.
Alright, I'll take 3.
She hands you like a little piece of paper, basically. It's not a piece of paper, but like a little piece of wood that just has like a number on it.
She says, "Get those back to me whenever you're done."
Of course.
And she takes the 6 copper and says, "Do you guys want a drink or anything?"
Could I have some food sent up to the room?
Sent up?
Or can I have some to bring up? What time of day is it, by the way?
It's probably midday, like
okay.
2 o'clock.
Damn, I thought it'd be later.
Because you guys traveled to Solsland in the morning, were there for a short period of time, came over here, wandered through city. So yeah, it's probably like 2 o'clock, something like that.
Okay.
She puts some food down there and takes 2 more copper from you. And she tells you she wants the bowls back and kind of chuckles to herself when she wanders off to the other side of the bar. And you hear her giggling about room service.
Alright. I really don't have any more business here. I have a couple of things I need to do, but other than that, do you guys have anything you need to do?
Rather than a little private time to myself, I don't think I'll need any more.
I'd rather stay out of sight.
Of course. Here, I'll give. Well, I'll head off. I'll head off to the rooms and I'll break it. It can be Kalik and Annie, Arillo and myself, and then Edgar.
Oh damn! I get the premium. Okay.
The rooms are the most simple thing you've ever seen. On the ground, there lays a bedroll on what looks to be a pile of hay, and there's like a single little cupboard there for you to put stuff in. The rooms are not particularly large. The walls are made of like mud brick. There's no lock on the doors, which is why you've been given little wooden slabs to denote which room is yours, because there are no keys for these.
Does it look like a wedge to kind of keep the door shut?
No, but on the inside there is like a, not a deadbolt, but a...
Like one of those door stopper things?
Yeah, like a rotating plank that you can use to...
Okay.
An arm bar or whatever.
Alright. Well, the sooner tomorrow comes, the sooner we can try and talk to Barjara again.
Yeah, and I don't think the accommodations are going to be too tip-top, so... Sooner we sleep, sooner we wake up, and give whatever the hell that thing was another try.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I've run into my fair share of things stronger than me, but that was something else.
That was definitely scary.
Tidge, I'm a 200-something pound man wearing chainmail, and he pinned me up without a second thought. Very weird.
Now we know not to make any sudden moves.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll just let you do the talking. You seem to warm up to you.
Hopefully, that stays the case.
Are you guys sleeping through the night here?
I'm gonna do a quick meditation and prayer in my room, but yeah.
Sure.
I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of the librarian.
You can each roll wisdom.
Nice.
Oh, 100 miles away.
I don't want to roll via Cobb. I don't feel like it's appropriate for that turn.
Yeah, no.
Nice one.
Alright, let's do it.
I'll try to meditate
Oh, come on,
to
man.
RX as well.
Hey, I can still pray, even though I roll low wisdom.
Right?
What are you praying to RX for?
A clear head and guidance.
Sure. You can go ahead and make a wisdom roll as well.
Normally, like, the prejudice and stuff like this wouldn't bother me, but this is like a whole nother level of, I don't know.
Advanced racism.
Yeah.
Ready to lynch you, racism.
Oh, damn.
20.
Okay. You pray, and you guys kind of do your little rituals here before bed and go to sleep. Now, when you guys wake up, you feel, well, to put it plainly, blessed, Kalik. For the rest of the day, you have a +2 intelligence.
Before I had gone to bed, could I have cast Find Familiar?
Sure.
As a ritual, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. I'll have an owl.
Okay. Something about your words must have gotten through, because when you wake the next day, Kalik, you feel noticeably different. And there is an unmistakable sense that exactly what you've asked for, a clear head, has come to you. And you find that it's a little bit easier to stomach the surroundings. I mean, sure, yeah, you've just signed into slavery papers and stuff like that, but you still have your mind, most importantly, and your friends are still looking out for you, and things kind of seem like they're on the up and up.
Right.
Now, as you guys wake up, what do you want to do?
Is it worth trying to go back as soon or this quick?
Look, I got a kink in my neck, and I don't want to be sleeping here longer than I have to. I'll be in like a hushed tone so the half-orc lady doesn't hear me.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can just,
Alright, yeah.
I don't even know what he can offer us, right? Other than maybe where his last known location was. but I guess we give it another try.
I
Yeah,
think-
how are you feeling this morning?
A lot better, to be honest.
Good, you had me worried there.
Don't be thrown off if I try to keep my mouth shut today.
No, I mean, you're usually so giddy and happy. It was just a bit weird to see you like that, but given the circumstances, I think we can all understand.
Are we talking about the same tiefling? Because I don't think that you view him the same way I do.
I don't know if we share the same intimate relationship that you do. Not yet, anyways.
Yeah,
Raise an eyebrow.
I've got,
There it is.
I've got to say, I mean, Alec might seem timid, but when you get him excited about something, whew.
All right, let's get this done as
Look.
soon as possible.
Look, I've read stories, what terrible things can happen when people are taken advantage of when it comes to slavery and whatnot. And I should have remembered reading about Seba. A lot of people are picked up in raids, if I remember correctly, and people unfit for work are, I remember, consumed for the undead to maintain their existence. Or I don't know. To stay here, they have to consume the living.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
And slaves are prime candidates for this. So, sorry if I'm a little off put.
No, but it's kind of a disturbing thought.
As if this town weren't disturbing enough.
What? Seba's a nice place with nice
Oh,
people.
yeah, it's just great.
One thing that I'm trying to learn is there's good everywhere, but I'm having a hard time seeing it in this place.
Ugh.
Maybe it's just a little more hidden.
I don't know if I'm willing to stay around to try and seek it out.
Well, I promised Metri I'd keep an eye out, but I'm not seeing much.
Well,
The sooner we get out of here, the better. Oh, and I'm gonna change up my prepared spells when we woke up. If that's
Okay, go for it.
would you be more comfortable perhaps staying here? Or do you all want to come back?
I don't like you in that room alone, so
I
take
would
someone.
I would prefer to stay with you guys. But then again, might be better for us to be out of sight. But we would need someone with us.
I think for this
Yeah.
conversation we'd be in one of the rooms. So that nobody sees us just talking super openly to
In the hallway.
Yeah.
slaves and stuff.
Well, look, I think it's just safer for us to stick together. That
think
way, Kalik and Annie are okay. You know, when we start wandering about, bad things can happen. So,
Yeah. You guys weren't harassed yesterday, right?
not more than we saw, I guess. But
Well, while I should clarify, yeah, while we were in with Bar Jarger.
A couple ghosts were kind of toying with us a little bit, just laughing. But other than that, nothing much.
Okay. Well, hopefully he's in a better mood today. We can get a little more from him.
fingers crossed.
I'll be honest though, I don't know how much more we can keep doing this. I think if we don't have much success today, he's probably not going to be that willing to see us tomorrow.
Well, let's not try to determine a pattern of behavior. The guy that helped, or that guided us to his room, did say his mood is erratic. So today he could be nice and jovial, or even more pissed off.
Well,
you
let's
know,
hope
I'm
for
not-
the former.
Yeah, I'm not going to start trying to anticipate the mood of a 500-year-old creature, whatever that thing is.
All right. Well, we'll take it one day at a time and see
Sounds
what we
good.
can get from him today.
I'm gonna put my hood up and try to hide as much as possible.
There's something in my eye. We will pick up in 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
So,
That's a first. That's a first in like 2 years. Oh,
There
man.
is something in my eye.
I'll be right back real quick.
Ooh, I get hold person at will next level. Not at will. Just always prepared.
Mm-hmm.
He's cute.
What do I? I have sanctuary. I have this. I don't think I need anything else.
There's so many spells I want to have prepared.
Just jack up that that wisdom, man.
Yep.
Got no choice.
Either I jack that up next level or I take
Initiative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna. I was gonna go take a piss. I'll be back in like 10 seconds.
Sorry about that. It's fucking eyelash just out of nowhere.
By the way,
Well,
I totally forgot about Seba. I know our players probably would have known about it, but thanks for not killing us outright, like it says in the website.
All good. The guard just assumed that you guys were property.
property of the guy.
Killed on sight.
I'm back.
Welcome. We're just chilling for a minute till Billy gets back.
Is your eye better?
Yeah, there's an eyelash in there.
It's the worst.
They've also been really annoyed lately because I have long hair and they keep... I don't know, long hair is just a fucking hassle. It's not worth it. I'm seriously considering just shaving it all off.
I chopped it off.
You chopped your hair?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Britney
yeah.
Spears or like pixie cut?
No.
I think we
yeah,
had this
Sam-
conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a pixie. Sorta.
That's cool. I think those are neat. They look hot if they're done properly. But like
Hout.
HAWT. Oh, we're all back. Good to go?
I believe.
Okay. So you guys are leaving the tavern for the Necro Hall, hoping to find Barjarger in a good mood. Does that sound right?
Fingers crossed.
Okay. On your way down the hall, you enter into the main area, and somebody is seated at a table there who turns over in your direction. And you see what looks like a skeleton that faces your group. And as he does so, he says, "Hey, you fleshbags want to play some dice?"
Got pretty urgent business, unfortunately.
It is urgent, isn't it?
He shakes like a cup, and you can hear a bunch of dice in there. And he says, "Alright, well."
Thanks for the offer. Perhaps another time. And I'll head off.
Suit yourselves.
I'm just kind of lingering there for.
Very slowly walking out the door.
I'll whisper to Edgar. We've got something.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So are you staying or are you going?
I linger for a little longer after saying you're right, and then I'll turn around and start walking.
Don't follow.
I'm proficient in dice after all.
He calls to you a second time as you're headed out, and he goes, "Oh, he wants it. He wants it."
Yeah, well, I'll take your money later today if you're still here.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
He's a sassy skeleton.
You guys step outside and make your way into the streets and start to wander towards the Necro Halls. Now, when you eventually get there, it's much like before, and you guys head up towards the door there, ready to step in and have a couple of you strategically go to speak with Barjarger. I assume that's Tidge and Edgar again.
Edgar.
Edgiest. I read it because it was E-D-G, you know? My mind put it together for whatever reason.
My mind's telling me no.
My body. My body's telling me yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt nobody.
I need that luck roll from you, please, Annie. Let's see if Barjarger's in a good mood.
Oh shit.
Or if Edgar
That's
gets
not-
exploded on the wall.
One.
Please no. What a way to die.
Okay.
Not bad,
Well.
not bad.
It's an average move.
It's above average.
You
I
guys
say desperately.
You guys step inside and find the man not standing in the middle of the room, but seated at his desk. He has a skull on the table there, and he seems to be magically controlling what looks like a chisel or something that's like scraping lines across the thing. And he looks over his shoulder and he goes, "Oh, I've seen you before, haven't I?"
Yes, we were here yesterday.
No, not yesterday. A while back, wasn't it?
Do you recall about how long?
Did we skip? No.
I'm not exact. You, I remember being very upset at you. What's your name? And he points at you, Edgar.
Edgar Lyle, sir.
Isn't that a noble family in Solsland?
I'll kind of give him a surprised look. Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Well, I don't remember what it was I was upset about with you, but I apologize.
I believe it was a sudden move on my part.
Oh, I see. I may not have been myself at the time. And you, sir, what was your name?
Tidge. Brindlestock.
Tidge. Barjarger, it's good to meet you both. Can I help you?
We're hoping so. I'm not sure if you recall, but we had spoken with... Last time we spoke, I mentioned that Zorig had recommended that we speak with you.
Oh, that crazy old man. How is he? He's still around. That's good to know.
He isn't crazy as... Definitely a word I would use to describe him, but incredibly knowledgeable.
Hawking his patented garbages, as usual, apparently.
Oh, he still sells those?
Mm-hmm.
He does, but he doesn't charge tax.
Yeah. He laughs and he says, "Oh, that's funny." And he says, "You'll get a hoot out of this." And he opens a cupboard and pulls out a brick.
I give like a no shit face. I'm like, what?
Yeah, me too.
And he says, he pushes the thing back in and, puts it away. And he says, "I know it's kind of silly. Sometimes I wish he had applied himself in different areas, but it's actually a genius invention."
Seems pretty useful.
It can be.
Tempted to
It can
buy
be.
one, but now I'm kind of regretting not getting one. I looked at Tidge.
Well, I can tell you, when that man goes, that's going to be a secret lost to time. In any case, that's grim talk. What was it that you were looking for?
Some information regarding an expelled and perhaps disgraced mage. And
you watch what looks like the color of this man's spectral form almost change over top of the skeleton there, and it goes from being like a more sort of white color to more of like a bluish, almost like there's a brief sort of response to your words, and then kind of like fades back to white.
Do I infer anything from that?
You can make an Arcana roll. You have proficiency in Arcana, right?
I do. 21.
Oh. You can't be certain, but you get the feeling that what you're looking at is kind of what's left of Barjarger there. And if it's changing every now and then, it might be that his grasp on the now is like a tenuous thing. You don't think that change is voluntary. Like he didn't just flex in front of you by changing the color. That's something that might be beyond him. You don't know what it heralds, but it's some kind of weirdness with his form.
Okay. So, could you tell us anything about a June Turcot, excuse me?
No, it's fine. It's a common last name here, but I can tell that you're not from around here. Yes, some grim business. I know quite a bit about him, but I do want to know who you are before we continue. It's good to be in the company of somebody of noble birth. Tidge, why is it that you want to know about this man?
The fate of a family member, my father, rests on me obtaining a book that it appears that June is after.
Interesting. Well, that would fit it. June was expelled years back. He was... Well, it's a shame, really. He was a great student at the Necro Halls. Talented. Had a gift for necromancy. Could have gone very far. But... something changed with him. I'm not sure what it is. But at some point, he started to behave strangely, and more and more, he was caught doing things he wasn't supposed to. He would steal small ingredients, which at first was fine. They were insignificant, just a slap on the wrist, but then he'd go for larger things, and then eventually he was caught reading tomes he wasn't supposed to, and one thing stacked upon another, and he was expelled. He's been kicked out.
Forgive me if it's an ignorant question, but do you feel this was a character shift, or maybe an external influence at work?
Right, we suspected some form of possession. We're very, very cautious about demonic and devilish influence in the city. We ran him through the tests, but found nothing. He seemed to be himself, as far as magical sensors could tell. But you could notice. I wouldn't consider him a friend, but I'd see him regularly, and even with my, well, cognizance as it comes and goes, I noticed something changed in him.
Do you mind if I draw something for you? Last time, I might have offended you, but you seem perhaps in better spirits.
Certainly, I probably thought you were about to cast a spell or something like that.
I'm a noble, maybe, but magic eludes me. So here you go. I'll draw it and I'll start handing it over. This was found in a crystal ball, which served as a vessel for a demon. It was found in the heads of skeletons within some temples, keeping them bound to this earth for far longer than I've seen in necromancy. And it seems that Ajun killed a courier on his way to Soulsland, getting more information about this. So we think whatever Ajun is after is linked to this rune right here.
Do you think he's... I didn't have him pegged for a killer, but given the trajectory of things, I'm actually not terribly surprised.
Well, the man that attacked one of our friends was of dark skin and bald-headed.
That's Ajun, yep.
He psychically attacked our friend through an orb, actually. What we think might have been a conduit for a familiar. He's been perhaps scrying or perhaps sending his familiar through this orb for some time and trying to glean some information from our conversations. Do you think it could be a familiar or a scry? What's more likely for Ajun?
You don't get a response because Barjarger is staring at the symbol that you've drawn there in the piece of paper. And he seems kind of taken aback by it. And then he turns to face you and he says,
Does that mean anything to you? We know it's very old, and we know it's fractured, and we know, Tidge, if you'll permit me, am I allowed to speak freely on this matter?
Yes. Go ahead.
We know that a creature called, a lesser deity, if you want to use that term, called the Librarian, has been working very hard to keep this fractured, and we believe that Ajun is not only acquiring these fractured pieces of information, but burning any link or any information surrounding it.
Yes.
And is doing so quite diligently, if I do say so myself.
The final act that had him expelled was the burning of some books, and I know those tomes intimately. I've read them for many years, and the symbol is to be found in them. I think we can say without a doubt that he's the one behind this. I am going to give you Ajun's address. I would like to help you personally, but it's best that I stay here where people can care for me if I lose myself, I suppose.
Sure.
I don't know what you'll find, but Ajun is incredibly powerful and was, like I said, a very gifted pupil. If it sounds like he's stolen some spells from these records and then burned them afterwards. And, well, we've attempted reconstructing some of them. In all honesty, I'm not certain whether or not they'll be lost to time thanks to his actions, but those are old necromancy spells, the likes of which have been placed in vaults for a reason. Many people think that what we do here is unethical, but like your librarian, we discover certain things that we put away behind lock and key.
I'll kind of smile. Certain traditions about Seva are off-putting, but it's great to hear, even as an outsider, that there's a great deal of good being done here as well.
You should spend more time here, Edgar. You may come to like the city after a while. There's a lot of good work to be done here.
I'd very much like that.
Now, let's see what we can find. This is Ajun's address. If what you say is true, I doubt that the abode will have anything for you other than maybe traps or a dead end. It sounds like if he's progressed to killing and raiding for these, then he's sank to the darkest depths, and there's very little that can be done. You should expect that he's going to have traps for you at every turn. Now, if you're lucky, there might be a clue there. I don't know where, but I have an odd memory that Ajun had not a lab, but a sort of testing ground, an estate further out, somewhere in the desert, or perhaps it was along the mountains. But I know that he would take these long trips, and I think there might be a place nearby, which might be another one to look out at after you've gone to his house, if you don't find anything.
The mountains, would they be west or north? West is a bit further away. It could be in line with what you're describing.
The trip only takes him a couple of days, so if I had to guess, at the most, it's the mountains of Lordbane is where I would guess. I don't think that it would be all the way to the mountains of Marcon. That seems like too much of a stretch.
Okay.
Now, there are times, however, where it takes him... He'll disappear for long periods of time in his study out there. And that leads me to the next thing that you should know, which is that Ajun is a great soul.
Much like us.
There's a similarity there indeed.
He nods. I could feel it when you entered the room today. My senses are a little bit more at hand.
Undoubtedly with your experience as well. I mean, that's why yesterday, even in your in the spirits that you were in, we tried to remain as respectful as possible. So I do have one question for you, since you've been so helpful.
Of course.
Perhaps you could have some information. The orb that he assaulted us from, and the orb that he summoned a demon from, or what seemed to be a demon, was referred to by Zurich as a demon eye. Could this, we destroyed it and dispatched it in one of these garbages that he has. but
Of course.
ever the prudent one, he says. But we're wondering if this could possibly serve as a conduit for a familiar, if we need to protect ourselves from scrying, possibly both. What are your thoughts on that?
It's possible.
All we know is, if this is a help to you, that a sense of dread, or we're very much aware that we're being observed when it happens, and it seems that there's a certain sphere of influence for that observation that can shift from one person to the other.
It doesn't appear... Well, a normal scrying spell will sometimes evoke that, but if it happens regularly, there might be something different. I don't know... That normally falls under divination. Perhaps there's a modified version that Ajun is using. On the topic of the demon eye, those are used for all sorts of summonings. You can't get them in the material plane often, but in other far-flung reaches they can be purchased and are very useful for summoning horrendous beasts and binding evil spirits to your will. It's possible that it was being used as a focus. A lot of people believe that the familiar is necessary to travel and to move magic from one place to another via the connection, but life is not actually required, believe it or not. And through necromancy, even inanimate objects can move energy from one place to another. You can simply bestow a life to an object for a period of time and use it as a way to travel that way. Now, this isn't something a beginning mage would manage to do, far from it, but it seems Ajun has picked up some skills.
Most definitely. He's been ahead of us at every turn, and we have traveled in Aluktatij. In some cases, we've expedited our travels in every way we can to make sure we got there first, and even then, it seems like all we see are embers and burned books, so I wouldn't put it past him that he has some way to move around that's beyond our abilities, that's for sure.
Do you believe that teleportation may be outside or within his wheelhouse?
Certainly. It's one of the staples. Even before mages learn it, it's common for them to carry supplies for such a thing. Moving from one place to another fast is very useful.
I have a question off topic for you. Do you know a gentleman by the name of Jen?
He pauses for a second and looks off, and then he looks back at you, and I'd like you to roll insight, please.
God damn it. I'm gonna use Viet Cop, because it's gonna be sneaky. Hit me with your best shot. Alright, that's not bad. Insight is 4, that's a 15.
The ghost smiles to you, skeletal teeth resting against skeletal teeth. Why do you ask?
He's actually quite a good friend of mine, and a friend of the family, but...
Is he?
So he says. However, when I showed him this rune, I might not know magic, but I know people. And I know he knew this before I even discussed it. He didn't seem all that surprised. It was a look of recognition, and it was him that recommended that we come here in the first place. It seems like you too have that look of recognizance when I brought up his name.
Well, I won't lie to you, Edgar. I do know Jem, but I don't really feel like talking about him too much.
Ever the mystery, that man. Okay, well, you've been so helpful thus far, I won't press the issue.
Could I ask one more question as well?
Certainly.
Would you, by chance, know if, and I guess this is a little bit of a multi-point question, if there are any more, if there are any surviving followers of the librarian, and perchance if you may know where to find maybe even just one of them?
I'm gonna roll luck to see how much he knows about this.
He knows everything. Kind of.
He says, I've been around for a few generations, Tidge, and all I know is that the librarian is mentioned less and less. Honestly, your mentioning of him is probably the first time I've heard his name in 50, 60 years. If there are a lot of followers out there, I would be surprised. More likely just a few. I don't happen to know any personally.
It's alright. That's about what I've come up with.
You're a dying breed, Tidge. A word of advice.
Yes.
Just keep going. Don't let the fire burn out.
I'll kind of shy away, I guess, from his choice of words, but of course. My further...
He gives you a spectral, skeletal wave, and he says, well, I should be back to my work then. I hope you find something. If you do get anything important, I'd like to know. I'm curious to see what's happened to Ajun, and I hope he's brought to justice if this turns out to be true.
Sorry, Tidge, if we get another demon eye, would it be worth keeping it intact and bringing it here? Would that be a way for you to get a lead on Ajun?
Possibly. I know some magics. If you could get one, yes, bring it back, but before you bring it back, you'll have to have it specially sealed away before it enters even into Seba, if you can. Have a box constructed lined with lead, and use that to transport it. I don't want to bring danger to anybody here, if I can avoid it. Bringing a demon eye into the city isn't exactly a wise idea, especially an intact one.
I'll look to Tidge. Kalik was right.
Well, we'll have to try and find another one.
Yeah, and let's not tell him.
Oh, he does not need to know that.
And I'll flash him his butt.
If our path takes us very far away, is there any way that we could contact you a little quicker? Should we find anything more out about Ajun?
I do want to hear about this. Here. And he hands you a scroll, which will cast sending to Bar Jargar if you use it.
Thank you.
I'm interested to know what's happened. Those do cost money, but don't worry about it. The first one's free, at least.
I appreciate your generosity.
Sorry again about the other day. Good luck on your travels. And be careful at Ajun's house.
We will.
I'll give him a nod. Start walking out.
You guys step outside and find your group there. As for you three, you've had a person, come up and ask you if you need any help, and you told them, you've got somebody who's doing some talking already, and he just wandered away. No ghosts this time. And Tidge and Edgar return.
Well, that was way more productive.
Absolutely. It was much easier to deal with today.
Check that address out.
Yeah, I'll see where that points us.
The address seems to go to just some house in town, given that you don't know anything about the city. You don't know if this is a lower district or like a nice neighborhood or whatever, but it should be something you can follow.
Is there any evidence that Bar Jargar is the one who wrote this down? Like, is his handwriting like super distinct?
Oh, I see.
I mean, I probably wouldn't know that.
Bar Jargar did write this, and if there's anything that you note about his handwriting, is that it's very beautiful. He's somebody who's clearly skilled in calligraphy.
But his name's not like on it anywhere.
No.
Okay.
But if you showed this to somebody, they would be like, that's good cursive. Like, that looks really nice.
All right, well, let's head off to his house then. Excuse me.
Oh. Well, before we go,
Let's sell Kalik and Annie first.
we did get quite a bit of information there, so let's just fill the guys in, and without bashing my head against a wall and repeating everything verbatim, I guess we'll just, if that's
Not
cool with
leave
you,
anything out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
no.
Except except for the demon eye thing, him being right.
So he
We'll
said
just
it'd be
say,
super useful to bring back a
bring back relics from a June's.
a Snickers.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so you guys tell him everything other than the demon eye bit. So, Kalik and Annie, you now know that the group's gotten some locations, and the plot has thickened in a few ways.
Also, Arillo's going to be able to help us navigate these mountains.
Yeah,
Coming
Arillo,
up.
is this a place you may know about?
Oh.
Perhaps you've gone by it at some point?
Roll survival, please, Arillo.
It is
All
part
right.
of the mountain range that he's from. Roll high, motherfucker. Aim high, Willis.
I know exactly where it is.
Aim high. Oh,
It was
Falco
14
fucked him.
Oh man.
5.
That must have been
Son
uncomfortable.
of a bitch. And that's a plus. So that's a 10.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, that's 6. That is a 6.
Are you sure?
I was adding strength into it, and then I
No,
was like,
but
wait,
you should
make
have
it-
proficiency in survival.
I have +1 to survival.
Oh, because you have a proficiency, but then a -1.
Yep.
Okay.
I got you.
So, you don't know anything about that as far as the location. There is a rumor amongst your people, though, that the southern end of the mountains are to be avoided.
Oh.
It's like a superstitious thing. So, like, you know, you feel like you could navigate through there, but generally your people just, like, avoid that part if they can.
Is that somewhere you're comfortable going? Can you handle that?
I think we can handle it, but it's somewhere we avoid that area.
Boy, it seems like nobody can be comfortable with this mission as we go forward.
Any particular reason that you can remember why you guys avoided?
Not off the top of my head, but mostly just family and all that don't go that way.
Okay.
Alright, well,
Terrible things, from what I hear.
they said that June had a laboratory, or a testing ground, actually, was the words that he said, so...
Well, the
Certainly
house is
would be.
nearby. Yeah, let's take care of that. The traps, though, Annie, you have nimble hands, but is that something you're familiar with, or are traps and booby traps and the like, or is that something kind of alien to you?
I might be able to disarm them if I'm given enough time to do so, but I don't think I can locate them.
You know, I pull out a book and start flipping through it. Clerics do have the ability. Here. Find traps is a spell we do have access to. I would need to rest, re-prepare my spells, but
I mean, we're going into something quite dangerous, and the last time we had a lead, a June, which apparently is uncharacteristic of him, had the courier murdered, so I would say any advantage we can put in our favor. I would even shop for scrolls. If there's some kind of detection scroll that you guys have access to.
as a ritual, I can detect magic and sense magical traps.
Okay, but not the more traditional one.
But mechanical, probably not.
Okay.
I believe find traps doesn't tell you exactly where traps are. It just gives you a sense that there may be one near. And it's not something that you concentrate on, keep for a while. It's more of a blip. You get a sense.
and you'll have to spend 10 minutes to do that. It's gonna be slow going, but could be worth it.
Right.
What about small trinkets for the mechanical traps? I'm thinking rocks or ball bearings or wire cutters. You know, traditional tools that maybe you or Annie could use to disarm the ones that maybe aren't mad. We used to have crews of people that would go up ahead of our. They're essentially our scouting parties, and I saw their toolkits. They were quite impressive sometimes.
I mean, I can create a spectral scout, if you will.
Huh.
I would prefer. It'd probably take me about 10 minutes.
Are you guys en route to Ajune's while talking, or are you guys just hanging out outside of the temple?
There's no harm in scouting it out, I would say.
Okay.
I thought we were still sitting there.
Yeah, I thought we were near the temple.
It's your call. So you guys are chatting by the temple.
Okay.
I was just curious.
So game plan might be go to a shop, see if there's anything that piques our interest in terms of tools. Find a place in town or outside of town, Kalik, up to you. We get a rest, you prepare your spells. We all try to prepare something that's a little more oriented to a marathon rather than a sprint when it comes to traps, and we're gonna have to be very careful in there. Keep in mind he might have servants as well, the undead, so I think Tidge, Kalik, and I are pretty well oriented towards taking care of that, and we'll have Annie for that, and Arillo, I don't know what you'll do, but you'll be looking pretty, bud. And I'll kind of slap him on a peck or something. If they come out, you'll smash. Alright, so do we want to see if there are any shops on the way to the place and just kind of look at it from outside and then find an inn nearby?
Sure. That works for me.
Okay. You guys travel towards the place. Not wanting to get directly up towards it, you instead intend to find where it is and watch it from across the road or a little bit further away. And your walk takes you across a very impressive market, which, since it's a new day, is, like in full swing with tons of people all over the place, and everything from strange exotic fruits to weapons and people and everything is on for sale. And you guys pass through that throng and eventually make your way over towards Ajune's. Ajune's seems to be in a wealthier district. It's nothing like the noble estates you would see in Soulsland, or even Aurelium, where the nobles are a little bit lower on the ladder than other places. But when you get over here, you do notice that it's like a nice, very respectable, fairly large two-story home. And all the other buildings around here are very similar kind of size and opulence. Now, from your position across the road, there are some immediate things that you notice about the house. The first of which is that it looks kind of unkempt. There are parts of the wall on the outside where the mud brick is sort of cracking. You see like little bits of plaster that have fallen off, just little tidbits here and there. It's not really something you'd notice if you weren't looking for it. The other thing too is that there are no lights on, and there don't appear to be any people around it. So the other houses, there's like somebody outside who's hanging up clothes and whatnot. Nobody's outside of Ajune's house doing anything.
Guys, do you want to just wait here for a second? I'm gonna try to do something. I know that they've referred to my noble lineage as something admirable a few times, so I think if I go to one of the neighbors, I might be able to glean a little more information about the house next door.
Sure, and while you're doing that, I could do a little bit of reconnaissance without actually going anywhere.
Yeah, Kalik, if there are any rituals you want to cast, just make sure that no one sees you. I don't think they're going to be taking too kindly to tieflings casting spells.
Okay, so I guess I'd prefer to cast it if we're going in.
Oh, sure. You don't. It doesn't have to be now. I was just a
I'll wait.
consideration.
I'll wait for you to come back.
Okay. I'll just head off to, like, if there's someone outside of one of the estates nearby, that's the one I'll go to.
Sure. There's a woman outside hanging some clothing up outside one of the houses nearby, and you approach, and she looks over and gives you like a smile and a nod.
Hi, milady. Name is Edgar Lyle. A noble from Solsland. I was inquiring about possibly purchasing an estate here in Seba. And I noticed the one just nearby that's quite unkempt. It seems that it might be unoccupied. I was wondering if you had any information about that one.
My lord, that's the Cat's house. There's no... I don't think anybody lives there anymore.
Do you know how long it's been?
Well, their only son has had the place for a long time, but between you and me, I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know if anybody goes there.
Is there a way for me to go just check it out, or maybe have a guard escort to see if it's available for sale, or is that just something that's not done here?
The guard may know. If it's up for sale, usually there's a sign outside, or maybe one of the offices would know. You could check with one of the mercantile groups. Some of the guilds might be able to help you. My husband, actually, he's in the merchant guild. He might be able to help.
Really? Well, give me some time. I'm looking, and to be honest with you, in terms of just looking at it from the outside, it doesn't look all that great, so I don't know if I want to invest my time in that one, but I appreciate your time. So no one has been in and out in quite some time, as long as you can remember even.
I've never seen anyone go there.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, and who knows, we might be neighbors someday.
She smiles to you, and you kind of head off back to the group.
Yeah, it's been a dead zone for years, according to her.
I can take... I learned a little bit of a new trick, and I'll snap my fingers and have my owl familiar pop up on my shoulders.
Ah. A owl comes out of nowhere.
I spent a little time last night and gained this little friend here. I can see through his eyes and make a few passes around the house and see what things look like.
I hide, Fergus.
Wow, that's going to be an invaluable trick. Yeah, absolutely. Just check it out, see what you can glean from it.
Sure. As I understand it, though, I'll be quite vulnerable in this state. I'll be able to speak with you, but my eyes and ears are... Well, my eyes are his, so just keep an eye on me.
Well, we'll try to not let you trip and fall on your face.
Hopefully I'll just be standing still, but thanks. And then I will... am I within... I gotta get back to that page. 100 feet of... Are we within 100 feet of the house?
Sure. Yeah, you're probably like 50 away on the other side of the road.
Okay. Could I send my owl out and have him do a couple passes? See what things look like around the house?
Your owl leaves, and you guys watch as Titch pauses, and he has like a vacant stare, and you can tell he's entranced. And the bird flies off, and you see through its eyes. It's disorienting at first, and then you kind of get the hang of it. And the thing passes around the house. You're just having it do like a circle from above?
Yeah, I guess, and then see if there's anything of interest, and then maybe I'll go in closer.
Okay.
I'll just see if there's anything from the preliminary sweep, and then maybe move it a little closer from there.
Ajun appears to have a backyard, and wealthy as he is, there appears to be a well back there, and some very, very unkempt tufts of grass here and there. Other than that, there's not much. There's a small balcony that faces into that backyard, and a few windows here and there and some different walls. There's a main door at the front and a door at the backyard as well.
Okay. Is there any part of the house that looks like particularly susceptible to Well, any place that maybe would be an easy way to get in.
There are windows, and the balcony as well has a door to it, as well as the back door and the front door. But you don't see any, like, holes in the side of the wall or anything.
Okay. Are there any, like, obvious runes or, like, signs of magic maybe around that might be, like, magical traps around the back somewhere?
Make a perception check, please.
Let's see. Ooh. Does that count? It kind of just fell.
We'll take it.
Okay.
You see none. And with your eagle eyes there, there's no magical trace or anything that you see around the place. You get such a good view of the place, though, and examine the thing, that you do notice something. One of the windows is ajar by an inch.
Could I fly a little closer to that?
Sure.
Ruh-roh.
You fly by the window there, and in your owl form, you can't quite hover, but you can make multiple passes by the place, and you see a window who, sure enough, has its window pane pushed in just ever so slightly, just a couple centimeters, and behind it there are some blinds that have been draped over it that kind of flutter in the little bits of wind that push against them.
I will. I'm gonna have him come back. I'm not gonna kill him right after getting him.
You contemplate playing with the owl's life and then bring it back.
All right. So there's a couple of interesting things. He does have a backyard, and he's got some. There's a door out back there, and probably the most suspicious thing is that. Was that on the upper floor?
Yeah, it's
Near
on the
balcony?
second floor.
On the second floor, there was one of the windows back there was slightly ajar. Seemed pretty suspicious. Honestly, I didn't. I could have
That's what I
tested the
was
limits,
thinking.
but it
Could
seemed
be,
a little too obvious.
Yeah, a first opening into a trap.
With that new information, you guys all turn. The five of you stare across the way there towards this one lonely house that has
Don't you
just
do
been left. Don't I do what?
I know what you're doing.
No, I'm not doing anything.
You're gonna sign off.
Well, of course I am. It's 8:30.
God damn it!
And there, with the mystery in front of you, you'll have to find out what lays inside next week.
Son of a bitch!
So, I'd like to thank you, players. I think you did very good, and you got a whole bunch of different information, met some interesting characters, and are perhaps closer to finding out who it is who has killed the guard captain and maybe assaulted you guys a few times. So, now you're actually outside of his house.
Can you tell us something? I don't know
Maybe.
if this should be off stream or on stream, but you told us that another party knew the name, well, we knew the face of the person.
All right, thank you, audience. It's good to have you. Patrons couldn't do it without you. The biddies, I love it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Adios. Talking about this fucking stream shit. Well,
What? That's why I was low key about it, man.
there is another group that knows the name Ajun.
There you go.
Yes,
It is that
it's
guy.
true. It is true. And I will say that the way that we're doing the main quest for this is super interconnected compared to Season 1, which was very much just everyone has their own sort of main quest.
Hey, we saved the world. Fuck those other guys.
And I shall now kill stream. Peace out, stream.
Bye.